West. Tonight, the St. Ignatius Wildcats taking on the Benedictine Bengals. And we have you covered on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network presentation of St. Ignatius football. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Tackus. Alongside me, Adam Noga and Alex Carl. And, fellas, these are two teams coming off of opposite weeks. Cats picking up their first win last week against Riverside, and Benedictine losing their first last week to Lake Catholic.
Yes, St. Ignatius coming in off of a 45-33 win off of Riverside in a very high-scoring affair. Jacob Micken, the sophomore, with a great game on the offensive side of the ball. The Wildcat defense did just enough to get the win in Paynesville.
And for Benedictine, it was the other way around. They lost 6-3, a lot of self-inflicted wounds for them. They haven't given up more than 20 points a game this season. The big key for them is running the football well, which they didn't do great last week, and also playing good defense. It's going to be a tough Wildcat offense to stop.
And now we'll get into our impact players. First of the Wildcats, going to be Luke Sims, the breakout game last week.
Luke Sims had himself a game, didn't he? 2 big touchdowns, and on the season, he's had one good start. 18 catches, 341 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Great start to the year for him, and he's looking to continue it this week versus Benedictine.
Yeah, and then looking over at the Bengals, going to be a guy who missed last week, Tyrell O'Neal.
Yeah, O'Neal's really interesting because going into his junior year, he was 6'3", 260. This year, 6'4", 295. And he's very versatile on that front. He can play the 5 tech over the tackle. He can play the 3 tech over the guard. He even mixes in some nose as well. So something the Cats are going to have to keep their eye on is number 9 right there on that defensive front.
Coming up next, our keys to victory. Stick with us on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Tonight's game brought to you by Cleveland Home Title and by Polish Jewelers. Go ahead and get into our keys to the game. First for the St. Ignatius Wildcats.
And for St. Ignatius, he's going to be to hold Benedictine to 21 points or less. And the Wildcat defense had a hard time against Riverside last week. Another one is win the turnover battle. Hasn't really happened for the Cats this year, although they did force an interception last week. And the last one, get the ball to the playmakers in Luke Sims, Trey Haddad, and Marcus DeKancic, the wide receiver room of the offense.
Yeah, and taking a look at Benedictine, their bread and butter is running the football. So big in this game to establish the run. The Wildcat run defense has been pretty good, but that's going to be crucial for them. Another thing is don't play behind the sticks. 5 of 17 passing last week with an interception, so don't want to get behind the sticks being forced into passing downs. And limit the explosive plays. The Cats were very explosive last week, and they've got a lot of playmakers, as you talked about, Adam. So it's going to be something that they're going to have to stop with that talented secondary that the Bengals have.
And looking over at the tail of the tape, got a couple of numbers to go over for both teams.
Yeah, Benedictine 4-1 record to the Wildcats 1-4, kind of opposite records there. Benedictine has scored 20.6 points per game as opposed to the Wildcats 17.4. And here's the vast difference. Benedictine 7.2 points against per game to the Wildcats 31.8.
But you can see their ability to run the football with those 150 rushing yards per game. Two teams pretty even in terms of yards a game. The Cats had a couple weeks where they really struggled to move the football, but only 105 passing yards a game for the Bengals. They've really struggled to open it up in that area, so something they got to improve on in this game.
And don't go anywhere. Kickoff is next from John Carroll here on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network.
The best way to get to know St. Ignatius is to see it for yourself. We invite all 8th grade students to spend a day with us on campus and to see a day in the life of a St. Ignatius student up close and personal. Sit in on classes, meet our students and our teachers, enjoy lunch on us in our dining hall. See what makes this place so special. We can't wait to host you guys on our campus for Wildcat for a Day. Go Cats!
Hello and welcome back to John Shula Stadium. Couple of minutes away here from kickoff, both teams on the field. And quickly we'll send it down to Henry Kober with an update on the sideline.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Earlier this week, I talked to senior wide receiver Marcus DeCancic about the amazing performance last week, where Sims, Haddad, and DeCancic combined for 4 touchdowns. He simply told me that the wide receiver room was believed in play calls, quarterback Jacob Micken, each other, and most importantly, themselves. Tonight, the Wildcats look to have another great performance and lead the Cats to victory. That's all for me. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Henry. And yes, very important for this Cats offense to get it going against a Benedictine defense who played pretty well last week.
Yeah, and we said it at the top of the broadcast. They haven't given up more than 20 points in a game. Now, granted, they've played some pretty weak offenses overall, but their defense has been their strong suit. They've got some talent up front in Tyrell O'Neal, who we also talked about, the Toledo commit, and they've got some talent in that secondary, so it's going to make things difficult on the Cats, but luckily for the Cats, it's an offense that started slow last week, so hopefully they start strong this week, but it's an offense that finally got going last week in a big way with 45 points.
And looking at the start of the game, the Wildcats will be kicking it away first to the Benedictine offense, and they really couldn't get it going much last week, only putting up 3 points against Lake Catholic.
Yeah, just an unfortunate performance out of Benedictine offensively. They're kind of stuck in the middle of 2 quarterbacks in Giovanni Iacampo and Matthew First. They didn't really have that decided until last week when Iacampo was inevitably named the starter, and he was 5 for 17 for 67 yards and a pick last week. So we'll see what Benedictine goes with throwing the ball this week.
So Tremel Reese back deep to receive for the Bengals. Griffin Roberts on to kick it away, and Roberts did all the kicking last week, including the punting, but JT Hummer back in the lineup for the Wildcats now.
And Roberts knocked in that deep field goal to close out the half. Coach Franzinger said this week they have trust in his leg, and it was good for the whole operation of the field goal to get going, the hold, the snap.
So 12 minutes about to go on the clock. Again, the Wildcats coming off their first win last week. Benedictine losing their first, but these two teams have not met since 2004, where the Wildcats took that one in a commanding win. So 2 teams that were fairly familiar with each other in the 50s through the 70s. Now we'll get our first look in 2025. Roberts kicks it away. Reese gonna have a chance from his own 5. Reese up the middle and gets to the second level, but tripped up at the 27 by Billy Cole.
So we'll take a look at the Wildcat defense. You know, they had a pretty tough time last week, gave up a lot of points to the Riverside offense, who beat them on the big play. And that's something that they want to limit. That was a key to the game, limit the explosive play. And I mean, they've had a very good run defense all year, but we'll see how it shakes out here.
Now we'll get our first look at Giovanni Iacampo for the Benedictine offense. Running back into the game is Corday Blair. Last week, Iacampo, only 29% completions percentage against Lake Catholic. Only went for 67 yards and threw an interception. Iacampo has 3 receivers in the game. He'll pass on first down, looks deep across the middle. He's got Reese, and that one's complete. Reese, near sideline. He's got one man to beat, cuts it inside, and Tramel Reese on the first play from scrimmage goes all the way for a Benedictine touchdown.
All year, the Wildcat defense has gotten burnt by those big plays, and last week they had a couple of lapses in the secondary right there, just running a post over the middle, but had separation in between Owen O'Brien and Jay-Sean Thomas, and then was able to stay on his feet inside the 5 and go all the way. So a picture-perfect start for a Benedictine team who struggled to throw the football last week.
Now it's Nate Majors on to attempt the extra point. Made his first field goal last week from 31. The lone 3 points in that Lake Catholic game. This field goal is up, and it is good. So the Bengals start off hot. They lead at 7-0 with only 15 seconds gone in the first.
The best way to get to know St. Ignatius is to see it for yourself. We invite all 8th grade students to spend a day with us on campus and to see a day in the life of a St. Ignatius student up close in person. Sit in on classes, meet our students and our teachers, enjoy lunch on us in our dining hall. See what makes this place so special. We can't wait to host you guys on our campus for Wildcat for a Day. Go Cats!
Back with you after the Benedictine touchdown. First play from scrimmage goes all the way for a touchdown. You know, if you're the Benedictine offense, that's exactly what you needed.
Yeah, and that's going to fire you up and give you confidence in your passing game. I mean, Iacampo did not have a touchdown last week. That pass is more passing yards than they had all of last week. Just a picture-perfect start, like you said, to this game. Now it's up to the Wildcat offense to respond.
Yeah, and we'll get a look at the Wildcat return game. Billy Cole has been great this year returning for the Cats. He's got 284 yards on the kick returns so far. And when he has a chance to return the ball, you know it's probably going to go past the 30.
We've seen teams start to incorporate different strategies to try to keep the ball away from him, kicking it to the up man or kicking it out of bounds through the end zone.
Cole fields it on the run and never really had a chance at it. Smart kick from Majors, and the Cats will take over.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to do. Kick it towards the sideline, but it stopped and couldn't seem to trickle out of bounds as the Wildcats would have hoped. And the Wildcats just get the ball right around the 24-yard line.
Yeah, and it's an offense that needs to start strong because last week, as great as they were, they started really slow and fell behind, so going to be interesting.
Yeah, Micken, great week last week from him. 5 total touchdowns, 4 of them passing for 257 yards. Looked very good after he had a couple slow starts, especially against Walsh Jesuit.
I think the coaches have a lot more trust in Micken this week to throw the ball.
So on 1st and 10, it'll be a hand. Colwell to the outside. Breaks a tackle, still on his feet, and then he's finally wrestled down there after a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, looking out front, Alex Miller getting the start at center 2 weeks in a row. Bobby Leskovic still getting back up to speed after being out last week, so something to watch on that offensive front right there. And not really much going there on first down for the Wildcat offense. They're very run-happy on first down. I'm sure Benedictine knows that.
Benedictine also employs the 3-3 stack on defense. So we'll see what the Wildcat run game can do with that.
Micken's going to throw on 2nd down. Deep drop. Finds Colwell out of the backfield on the screen. Colwell up that far sideline and pushed out at the 35.
Yeah, that's what they do early in the game is a lot of safe plays, and right there, just able to flick it over the head of the defender, get it to Colwell in space right there. Good touch on this ball right there, especially with a pass rusher coming at him. Good run after catch by Colwell and a first down early for the Cats.
Those simple plays aren't as easy to execute as you would think, especially for a sophomore quarterback playing in his third ever game.
So 1st and 10 for the Cats after picking up the first down on the last play. Haddad motions. Micken looking Colwell's way, and that one just too far out of the reach of Colwell, and it will go for an incompletion.
We've seen them struggle with that a lot this year. Those swing passes, whoever the quarterback seems to lead his back by too much, as there is an injured Bengal here. Actually, multiple.
A couple of them, yeah. Antoine Livingston, one of the Bengals down in that Bengals secondary, but I think it's also Smith, who's one of their best playmakers defensively and offensively. And they both look to be in a lot of distress.
Yeah, just unfortunate right there. And we talked about it before the game that Benedictine also has a very talented secondary, which is why their defense is the way it is. So losing a couple guys early on is not ideal for them, especially when you look at the talented weapons the Cats have and their ability to push the ball downfield like they did last game.
So Livingston back on his feet. He's off under his own power, but this is a Benedictine team last week who lost superstar Luke Carlton with a lower body injury, and I don't think we're going to see him at all the rest of the year. And he's one of their best players, and now a couple more injuries. It's just they've been plagued by injuries so far this year, especially in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, battling through some tough adversity and some tough injuries in what has been a pretty solid season for them. 4-1 to start, but a rough loss last week, certainly.
Now we'll take a look at the St. Ignatius schedule. And they started 0-4, got a win last week against Riverside. Obviously in action tonight against Benedictine, and then the big rivalry next week, St. Ignatius, St. Ed's, that one at Lakewood. And then they travel on the road down to Cincinnati to take on Matt Ponatoski and the Archbishop Muller Crusaders. Tough game for them. And then St. Xavier, and they finish off with Football North. So this is kind of one of the games the Wildcats look at and they say, we got to win this one because we start a gauntlet in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, after this week, it really gets tough. Probably the toughest stretch of your schedule when you look at it. St. Ed's, Muller, and Xavier, some of the top teams in the state. Going to be some really tough matchups right there, but if you can continue to stack W's, getting 2 in a row would be great. Again, we talked about it last week, but build some momentum going into that tough stretch of the schedule. You don't want to go in with a loss, kind of have your morale down a little bit. If you can stack back-to-back wins, it'd be great moving forward.
You don't want to overlook this one, though. Benedictine offensively, you thought after a 6-3 loss to Lake Catholic, they're not going to do much offensively, but that big play on the first play from scrimmage tells you otherwise.
So 2nd down for the Cats. Last play was an incompletion Caldwell's way. The running back now, Jake Babinski. Micken will hand to Babinski, and he's stuffed in the backfield. Never had a chance.
Just a nice defensive stop. They kind of tried to go with a counter there type concept where Babinski tried to cut the other way. There were 3 Bengals there in the backfield to wrap up Babinski.
Yeah, Cam Hill right there getting in on the action. Really good job there. He brought the pressure on one of the previous plays on that screen and does a good job there getting into the backfield unblocked right there.
Now on 3rd and 11, Micken steps looking deep towards Babinski, and he got shoved early, but no penalty markers on the field. Now the Wildcats are going to bring out the punt unit.
Yeah, that's a tough window to fit it in right there. Wheel route out of the backfield. Babinski had some separation, a little bit of contact, but not enough to warrant a penalty, and the ball was overthrown anyway. Let him by a little bit too much. So the Cats offense continues to start slow, and they're going to have to punt it away, try to get a stop.
Those 3rd and long situations, never easy to convert on.
So Griffin Roberts actually back to doing the punting. JT Hummer is healthy, but they elect to go with Roberts. Averages about 38 yards on each of his punts. Was talking to him before the game. So he's got a hang time at around 4.5 seconds. So definitely a good punter for the Wildcats. High snap, he corrals it, gets it away. High spiraling kick. And it takes a Wildcats bounce. Still bouncing, and Out of bounds around the 25, and that's where Iacampo and his offense will take over.
Yeah, similar to where they started last time, and we're not even 2 minutes into this game, and this is their second possession. They got 7 points on the board, and it's a really encouraging sign for a Benedictine offense who has had some struggles to get on the board early and keep that momentum moving forward here on the second drive. And for the Cats, they're back on their heels a little bit, so got to come up with a response.
Again, like we said before the game, it's prevent the big play. And you saw the big play happened already. So if the Wildcat defense can stop that big play, they have a good chance.
Now a tight formation, Iacampo under center. This one a hand to the outside, goes to Corday Blair, and he gets stopped after picking up around 4.
Yeah, solid run there on first down. You'll take that every day of the week. I've said that a lot, but that's a good run right there. You're seeing also no James Conrad to start, maybe still limiting his snap count a little bit, going with Kennedy, Baker, and Rivera there in the middle as the mic. Still not a bad combo to have, certainly.
Baker, definitely a formidable replacement. Had a pretty good game last week against Riverside.
So 2nd down and 6 officially. Iacampo will hand this one off, and it's fumbled in the backfield. And it's fallen back on top of, but that'll back the Bengals up.
Yeah, and the story of the game last week for Benedictine was missed opportunities. They scored 3 points. Their offense wasn't great, but they also missed some opportunities. As right here, it looks like he just ran without the football almost. A little bit of confusion right there, but they had a fumble on the goal line last week as well. So a sloppy play here early on, putting you in those long down and distance situations that you don't want to see yourself in.
So that'll be 3rd and 8. Benedictine has 4 receivers in the game. Running back is Corday Blair. Iacampo, quick across the middle. He's got his tight end spikes. And it'll be close. We'll see where they mark him officially.
That spot is very close.
It'll be 4th down, but not by a lot. And Benedictine's offense still on the field.
Yeah, just found the soft spot in the zone and sat down in it. Good throw there on the outside shoulder. But no chance for run after catch, and they end up just about a half-yard short.
So there's an official timeout.
Yeah, I think they might
measure it.
measure it, yeah.
They're just having a conversation. Sticks are still on the far sideline. Haven't moved.
It looked awfully
Now
close.
they're moving, yeah. It's a close spot. We'll see exactly where they give them. There was a measurement last week against Riverside for the Wildcats that went the Wildcats' direction.
Yeah, it looked awfully close, but from our view, it looked like he might have been a little bit short, but we'll see right here.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be well short,
Yeah,
about
well
a football
short,
length
yeah.
and a half short. So we'll see what Benedictine goes to here, but can imagine they're going to keep the offense on.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, maybe not.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. You might want to go for it because, I mean, you are up by 7, but you're underdogs. You're on the road. I mean, it's crazy to say they're underdogs even with a 4-1 record, but
Well, they will bring on Nate Majors in the punt unit.
The Wildcats got to stay home on any trickery here. It's a very short distance. Don't want to have a snap to an up man or something of that nature.
Two Wildcats back deep to receive are Haddad and Cole. Snap is back. That one nearly blocked. End over end kick. Cole's going to have a chance. Makes 2 men miss. Cole up the middle. And there's a penalty marker on the field back around where that kick got off.
yeah, no matter what it is, it's going to give Benedictine the first down on 4th and 1.
They gave him the roughing the kicker penalty. So that'll move him up 15 yards. And Benedictine took a roughing the kicker penalty of himself last week. Yeah, O'Brien did hit him a little bit low.
Did a good job to sell it as
Yeah.
well there. But, I mean, nevertheless, the Cats were very penalty happy last week, and they do it again right here. And you give them a fresh chance that Benedictine has the opportunity to capitalize on now in Wildcat territory. So mistakes that really cannot happen at this point in the game.
And you mentioned the penalties. Wildcats 14 penalties for 159 yards last week.
And some of that was just chippy stuff at the end of the game, unsportsmanlike conduct, stuff that the Cats handled during the week.
So another back in the game for the Bengals is Caden Forte. Jonathan Spikes, the tight end, also in that backfield, one of the playmakers for this Benedictine offense. It'll be a hand. Forte cuts to the outside, has the edge, and Forte gets wrestled down there by Jayshon Thomas, but got himself to the Wildcat 35, and now a penalty marker back behind the play, and I think they might get Xander Smith.
Yeah, Xander Smith, the former Wildcat, the junior, they might get him right here. Maybe a little bit chippy playing against his old school. Transferred to Benedictine mainly for basketball reasons. Very talented basketball player, but also very good on the football field. And they will get a personal foul there. It's going to be offsetting,
yep.
Yeah. I was going to say on that last play, you said Jonathan Spikes in the backfield delivered a really good block there on Dylan Baker to create that hole on the near side. But obviously, the offsetting penalties right there.
So it will be first down, Benedictine. They got it from the Wildcat 36-yard line. And this just hasn't been the Wildcat offense we were used to seeing, especially in the first 3 weeks of the season. Last week, not a strong showing from them, and already 7 points on them early. Iacampo will hand to Forte, but I think they're going to say Iacampo fielded it from a knee, so that'll go as a loss.
Yeah, still some, you go.
So we saw bad snaps for the Wildcats in about weeks 1 and 2. And it seems like Benedictine has been plagued with those this week. Not necessarily bad snaps, but you saw the botched handoff that went for a loss. Just plays like that. But also, I mean, the Wildcats have to capitalize on that. Second down in about 15, but the Wildcats have been susceptible to a big play on second down.
And a nice crescent-shaped moon tonight in University Heights. Zach Smolak loves the moon, one of the camera operators tonight. Second down and 15 for the Bengals. Spikes will slowly motion across the formation. It'll be a play-action pass. It was a screen. Forte has it in space to the outside. Breaks a couple tackles, and Forte gets himself back near that original line of scrimmage.
And just an amazing job by Forte to weasel out of those tackles. It seemed like there were 5 Wildcats there on him. The screen pass had to come catch the ball. Evaded the tackle of Josh Buddy. Wow.
Yeah, it looked like Nick Rivera made the first contact right there. Kind of slowed him up, but Quinn Kennedy, he was able to shake off of him right there. Get a solid gain, but only 7, which is amazing considering where that play started.
3rd and 8 now. Forte still the back. Spikes again motions slowly across, and now there's a penalty marker, and it'll be a false start on the Bengals.
I think that motion's interesting because that's something Coach Franzinger mentioned when we talked to him this week as another unforced error by the Bengals here early in this game, but he talked about that slow shuffle by the tight end across the formation, motioning him to the strong side, using him as a lead blocker, also can obviously go out and catch the football as well. So a lot of teams like to incorporate that motion in their offense because it kind of unravels the defense a little bit, tells you a little bit about what they're doing coverage-wise, how they're rushing the passer, all those good things.
So now 3rd down and 13. Benedictine well behind the sticks. Spikes motions again. Slow shuffle across. Iacampo, low snap. Throws out to Spikes out of the flat. Packer made an open field tackle, but Spikes stayed on his feet and got himself near the first down marker. He'll be 2 yards short.
They've done a great job so far breaking out of initial contact, as you see right there. Just tripped up a little bit, but that man went in motion across the formation. O'Brien was a little bit late getting over, and he was able to catch it out of the flat, and it'll bring up 4th and short.
Iacampo might just be hard counting. Now he looks to the sideline. He'll get a new play.
You're kind of in no man's land. It would be about a 45-ish yard field goal.
And I think it's just going to be a hard count. Iacampo looks off again. This will be their third play call. Now they'll take a timeout. So they were just going for the hard count. And the Wildcats did not fall for it.
Yeah, but they've only made one field goal on the season. Nate Majors last week drilled a 31-yarder, so a good kick, but this is much beyond that, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they were just trying to see what the Cats would come out in right there, kind of show their hand a little bit. Maybe they send the offense back out there here, 4th and 2. Have some faith in your offense here early in this game.
And the Wildcat student section tonight rocking the jersey theme on senior night. Decent showing by them. But again, Benedictine did travel well with their student section.
Yeah, we actually showed up tonight.
Yeah.
It's hard to see, but it goes all the way
it goes
towards the
much
back.
farther than I thought it did. Unfortunately, we can't get a camera angle of that, but it is pretty full. Let's say 75% of these John Carroll bleachers. Can't even see the top of it, so it might go farther than that.
Yeah, one of the biggest student sections we've seen in a while, maybe all this year. Next week will be another big one, certainly, against St. Edward. That game, no matter what, will always be highly attended.
So now the Bengals will go I form. Running back is Forte. 4th down and 2. And Iacampo's going to keep it. Broken play, and Quinn Kennedy gets to Iacampo in the backfield. It's a turnover on downs.
Yeah, it seemed like they kind of wanted to deke the handoff right there, and Iacampo was just swallowed up. Quinn Kennedy all over that one. These linebackers have great instincts, as it looks like he kind of faked the handoff, tried to keep it, tried to deceive and fool that Wildcat defense, but no fooling going on right there. Kennedy snuffed it out from the start, and it's kind of weird because the run's already going that way, so everyone's shifting that way anyway. But a big stop by the Cats.
Seemed like there's probably something wrong with that play if it was the running back not going to the right side, but Iacampo did not seem comfortable with that play and just had to slide down to the backfield. Great pursuit by Kennedy.
Now Takancic will motion across. Hand Caldwell. Caldwell makes a man miss at the line and then picks up 8 on the first down carry.
Yeah, just your basic run between the tackles right there. Sent the man in motion across, kind of clear that defender out of the area. And very good gain there on first down. Leaves your options open here on second.
2nd down and 2 now from the 43-yard line of the Wildcats. Micken, another hand. Caldwell to the outside. Caldwell has the edge and then gets pushed out of bounds there, but picks up the first down.
Caldwell's so explosive. When he gets the ball, it feels like he's already in a full rushing start. Got the edge there and just picked up the first down.
Yeah, he bounces a lot of those runs to the outside that might be designed to go between the tackles. That's when he's at his best, is outside of the tackle, so kind of those outside zone plays right there. And he's able to get the edge right there with his speed and pick up the first down.
The Wildcats will use this motion again. Micken throws across the middle. He's got Luke Sims. Sims still on his feet, and he gets brought down near the 30-yard line, and Sims continues to be dangerous when he gets the ball in open space.
And Sims' run after the catch this year has been superb. Just fantastic. And a nice find by Micken to put the ball where the defenders aren't, only where Sims could get it. And Sims to weasel out of about 2 tackles to pick up some extra yards.
Yeah, it looks similar to a play that went big in week 2 where Sims just kind of runs a hitch over the middle and finds that soft spot in the zone as he did right there. Good ball in between 2 defenders, like you said, Adam. And the Cats offense finding its legs here late in the first.
1st and 10 from the 30. Play action pass. Micken looking Matt Joyce's way, and Joyce just couldn't bring it in. Good ball, just past the outstretched arms.
And Joyce and Takancic were both open on that play action concept. Both would have probably gone for touchdowns. Micken just missing Joyce right there.
Yeah, might have been a little bit of cover 1 if I'm not mistaken. Only one safety helping over the top right there. Looked like they had man there across the board, but with that one safety helping up over top and had a little bit of separation with Joyce, but just overshot him.
Now they'll go to Jake Babinski on that misdirection. He has nowhere to go. Wrapped up very quickly by Sean O'Connell.
And they've ran that misdirection concept 2 times, and it's had the same result both times they've run it. Jake Babinski just getting swallowed up there in the backfield.
Yeah, Hackadakis pulled across the formation, and just seemed like there were too many defenders loaded on that far side for the Cats to block. So unfortunate play right there, and sets them behind the sticks.
It's now a big 3rd down for the Wildcats. 3rd and 13. Micken is going to pass. Micken rolling out of the pocket, throws Sims' way. Some early contact, and no penalty markers on the field.
Yeah, tough throw right there, tough catch, but might have gotten there a little bit early. Definitely a bang-bang play.
And the field goal unit is going to be on. Long attempt, unless they just put on the punt unit.
Or maybe they just try to pin him back. I don't see DJ Malik
they're
on the
gonna
field,
punt this.
so you're going to see him booted away. But if you can pin him back right here, I mean, really, this might be your best option, 4th and 13.
And it would be about a 50-yard field goal for Roberts. And I don't know if Coach Franzinger trusts the whole operation to work there.
Another high snap from Foss. End-over-end kick by Roberts. Bounces at the 5, and that one just past the outstretched hands and into the end zone for a touchback. But Granzier was almost there to down that one.
Yeah, one of the last things you want to see happen right there is the goal of that was to gain field position, and I guess they did, but Benedictine is going to start at the 20 when you had the ball at the 33, so at that point, you might have just been better off going for it, although I agree with the decision to punt the football away. But early on, the Cats offense struggling to find that traction they had in the second half, but it's similar to what we saw last week where they started slow, kind of feeling them out a little bit on defense, and then they take the big shots and get points.
Yeah, you remember last week for the Wildcat offense, they were down 20-7 with only a couple minutes left in the first half. Got 2 quick scores, including a field goal. That's what got them back into the game. Tight end now across this line of scrimmage. It's an end around here. Reese got the outside, breaks a tackle, and then gets stopped near that line of scrimmage.
And credit to Quinn Kennedy on that play. Gets in the backfield and trips him up just enough to where other Wildcats can come in and tackle him for no gain.
Yeah, he's been snuffing out those plays really well. It seems like he's been in every play in this game, making some sort of contact, making some sort of play on the football, or at least coming close. And a good job right there to slow him up. Jay-Sean Thomas, Caden Marvin cleaning that one up. So 2nd and 10 here.
2nd and 10 from the 20 after no gain on first down. Forte, the running back. Iacampo's just going to drop to throw. Iacampo looks across the middle. That one was behind his receiver, Reese. Jay-Sean Thomas was in coverage.
Yeah, seems like there might have been a little bit of miscommunication, or that ball was just underthrown, I guess. I mean, right there looked like he was just running a dig over the middle, maybe a deep, something deeper downfield, but just seemed like they weren't on the same page, whatever the reason was.
So now it's 3rd down. Benedictine hasn't gained a yard on this drive after the Wildcats stalled out in the Bengals half of the field. 4 receivers in the game, 2 of them to each side of Iacampo. Iacampo drops, throws. That one batted up in the air and then falls to the ground. But it will bring on the punt unit for the Bengals.
Yeah, good job there by the Wildcat defense. Looked like Rivera might have gotten a hand on it. Somebody on that far side of the line. And, you know, that first series was rough, but since then they've kind of adjusted. Still some things to clean up, but a really good series right there.
So Nate Majors right back on to kick this one away. Haddad and Cole standing at the Benedictine 45-yard line. So a little bit up closer than I would have thought. But if the punt goes to where they're standing, the Cats are going to start with some pretty good field position. Plus, you got to keep in the back of your mind, Cole can break one loose. He has the speed to do so. Majors kicks Cole's way, end over end, fielded. Cole breaks to the outside. Cole has the edge to the 20 and then pushed out of bounds there. But a good return there by Billy Cole.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a hold, though, just inside the 30. It seems like it was on Ryan Whalen right there.
Called a block in the back officially.
Block in the back, but same result right there, negating that big return a little bit.
So the Wildcats will still have good field position, but not as good as they would have thought. So it will be officially a block on the back on the Wildcats. And it's just, for the Wildcat return game, you've gotten close so many times to just breaking one all the way free, and then Cole has a good return there and a penalty, and that's a couple penalties on the Wildcats to this game. We talked to Coach Franzinger, and he said, you know, there's a couple too many where we got to clean that up. There's no reason to take that many penalties.
But he also differentiated between the two. He talked about kind of unforced mental errors like the unsportsmanlike conduct that we saw late in the game, we saw after the touchdown, and then plays like that where it's just effort plays. Stuff like that's going to happen, but you got to clean it up.
So first and 10, pardon me, from the 40. Micken looks Sims' way. There's a penalty marker. I think it's going to be a hold on the Bengals.
Sims had him beat. Micken just overshot him, but there was definitely a tug on the jersey. Another Bengals secondary member is down.
They've had the opportunity for some deep shots in this game, and they've tried to take advantage, but just overshooting his receiver a little bit as he feels it out a little bit. I'm sure he'll make those throws like he did last week.
And again, so it will be a hold on Benedictine, and the Wildcats will move up 10 yards. But Sims has been open, as has Joyce. So the Wildcat passing game is just waiting for that one pass to connect and go the distance.
Yeah, and like I kind of said, he's had those throws open a little bit. Benedictine playing a lot of man coverage downfield. He's had those one-on-ones, and they've been there, but it's been tight windows, and he's kind of just overshooting his receivers on a lot of these throws, but he's got the arm to do it. You see the arm strength, but just kind of got to feel it out a little bit. Those are some really tough throws to try to fit it into.
But then again, I mean, it's his third game on varsity. He had a great game last week, but he's probably still just feeling it out and getting comfortable in this offense. So the Wildcats, they have a fresh set of downs here from the 30-yard line, and this is a prime scoring opportunity.
So Cam Hill, the Bengal, who was injured on that play and not putting a lot of weight on his right leg as he gets ushered to the sideline.
Yeah, and the Benedictine defense just continues to be torn apart in this game. When you look at the injuries that they've had, and they've got to have some guys step up as he's being carried off the field.
Yeah, so Hill's just unable to really walk off himself. A coach came over and carrying him off. So hope Hill is okay. But the injuries for the Bengals have just piled up over the last 2 weeks. So following the hold on the last play, Luke Sims drew the penalty. Now the Cats have it from the 30. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. As Blasco, the tight end, will motion. Micken hitches this one out. Luke Sims and gets a couple, but then swarmed by the Benedictine defense.
Yeah, they're trying to get Luke Sims and their offensive weapons in space, and it was a nice concept to see that defensive coverage and send a blocker out there, but just even better by Benedictine to snuff that out. You know, Benedictine definitely going to be thin on personnel in the secondary, so that might be something the Cats are going to want to take advantage of.
And that's a play that's worked well a multitude of times, so it's a play you see in film, and it's like, okay, we're going to draw up a counter to that, and they did right there.
Bobinski gets the hand and shifts his way through, gets himself about 1 yard shy, and that play will bring us to the end of the quarter. And another injured Bengal on the play. Slow to get up, that is. And at the end of the first quarter, Benedictine with a 7-0 lead over the Wildcats. Back with you for the start of the second quarter. The Bengals lead it 7-0 over the Wildcats after one. And it was on the first play from scrimmage, but other than that, it's just been back and forth by both defenses.
Yeah, for Benedictine, like you said, that big play to start the quarter, and since then, they've been kind of quiet. 3 drives. The last one completely stalled out. We've seen drive by drive, the Cats get slowly better at countering that Benedictine offense. And again, another quarter where the defense has been pretty solid, but they gave up one big play. The offense has started slow, but they got a real opportunity right here to tie up this game.
Yeah, almost in the red zone are the Wildcats. And third and very short. Most likely 4-down territory for the Wildcats.
And Dane Donovan, the quarterback into the game for the Wildcats, bit of a bigger guy. We'll see if he just runs this. It's going to be a hand to Caldwell to the outside, and Caldwell picks up the first down before he's shoved out of bounds.
Yeah, we were told about a package of plays that might be featured last week where Donovan might run the football a little bit, but right there, he's a threat with his legs, so makes the decision to give it to Colwell. Good decision, picking up the first down right there, moving the chains there on 3rd and 2.
Seemed like a bit of an option concept, and number 6, Sean O'Connell off the edge for Benedictine did not bite on Donovan's fake, but they just picked up the first down anyway.
Donovan's still in the game for the Wildcats. Has trouble with the snap. Donovan is going to go down in the backfield, and it's given flashbacks to week 1 and week 2 where there was multiple snap fumbles.
Yeah, that one a little bit low and off to the side, but hey, not the worst snap in the world. When you look back at it, just maybe a little bit hot right there. Had some trouble corralling it, as now Micken will come back into the game. But it brings up 2nd and long, and you don't want to be put into these situations.
It looked like number 23, Will S.G. for the Bengals just lost his helmet. He was coming in so hard to stop Donovan there that helmet popped off, but Wildcats, big loss on first down.
So 2nd and 14, or officially. Micken throws. He's got Babinski out of the backfield. Babinski is chopped down there, and there are some penalties in the secondary. One around the 14-yard line. 16-yard line, pardon me.
Yeah, we'll see what it is.
Away from the play.
It's on the Wildcats. I think they said pass interference.
Yeah,
That's what I saw from this near side official.
Yeah, probably just some contact there in the secondary.
Wildcats do march back, and it is pass interference on the Cats.
We've seen that happen to them earlier this year as well, so maybe somebody blocking a little bit, some contact there, throwing out in the flat, maybe a little bit of a pick design right there to try to force him open, but you're really setting yourself back on a drive that was promising because of these penalties that you're still being plagued by.
So you were in the red zone at about the 16-yard line, and now you are very far back, most likely at about the 36 or the 35 after these 2 big losses.
And in a similar spot for the Wildcats last week, Babinski kind of just leaked out of the backfield, and he picked up a majority of the yards back, got himself all the way down to the 1, but Micken would get in on the QB sneak. Babinski is the back in the game. But there are 3 receivers for the Cats, and it's 2nd and 29. Micken drops back, throws, and he throws to his tight end Blasco, and he went backwards.
So the Cats were in field goal range, and they have played themselves out of it. Depends on what they do on this 3rd down and 1,000,000. But just a great stand by the Bengals defense, getting some help off the penalty. But way to blow up this Blasco screen pass.
And Blasco just tried to cut it back to the outside, had the middle, and then he was just swallowed up by O'Connell. And O'Connell's had a good game tonight. Last week, played pretty well, and he already has 6 tackles for loss on the year. Gets another one there. And pre-snap whistles. And we'll get a timeout by the Bengals.
Yeah, interesting to see what you draw up here on 3rd and 32. I'm sure it'll just be something quick out of the backfield to try to make something happen.
So the Bengals still lead at 7-0. We'll step aside on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network.
The best way to get to know St. Ignatius is to see it for yourself. We invite all 8th grade students to spend a day with us on campus and to see a day in the life of a St. Ignatius student up close and personal. Sit in on classes, meet our students and our teachers, enjoy lunch on us in our dining hall. See what makes this place so special. We can't wait to host you guys on our campus for Wildcat for a Day. Go Cats!
And welcome back to Don Shula Stadium. Benedictine, 7-0 lead, 10:18 left to go in the half. And the Wildcats are backed way up ahead of this third down.
Yeah, it would be about a 56-yard field goal if they were to try to kick it from here. So in order to even attempt that, they would need a big chunk of yardage. And if they don't get anything on this down, I'm sure they would just punt it away like last drive.
Yeah, and we were talking about it before the timeout a little bit, but I mean, what do you call here on 3rd and 32? You try to do something quick, try to make something happen in open space, but the reality of it is you're probably going to punt the football away here unless you get to about the 25-yard line or so. So maybe try to make something happen because they punted from the 33, and it's a long down and distance, so they continue to set themselves behind the sticks and not doing themselves any favors so far.
So Micken will throw on third down. He's looking left, pressure coming, finds Trey Haddad, but it's overthrown. And it's been a disappointing start for the Wildcat offense as they send the punt unit back on.
They're coming off a game where they scored 40-plus offensively, and Micken had 5 touchdowns, but this first half has just not gone their way. Punted a multitude of times. Actually, JT Hummer back on to punt for the Wildcats here, just behind midfield.
Yeah, certainly hoping they can pin him back right here. Unsuccessful last time.
End over end. That one bounces and into the end zone. Again, close by the Wildcats to try to down it, but Billy Cole couldn't corral it. Now Benedictine will march out to the 20.
And something we've seen all year is this Wildcat offense starts slow. Even in games where they score a solid chunk of points, you saw against Menor, they had that early drive that really went well, but then after that, the offense kind of faltered a little bit, and then in the second half really picked it up. Last week against Riverside, only 17 points at halftime, but 7 points with not much time remaining in the first half. So it takes them a while to get their footing, but they've opened up the playbook early in this game. Unlike other games, they just haven't been able to connect. And they've also shot themselves in the foot way too many times.
So now 1st and 10, Iacampo and the offense back out to work. Corday Blair is the running back. And Blair gets his number called, gets a good block, and then gets into that Wildcat linebacker core and spins up for around 5 yards.
And if you can do that on first down every time, if you're the Benedictine offense, you'll take that 5-yard gain to make second down significantly more manageable. Blair just finds the hole right there, takes a couple extra yards after contact, but setting up a second and medium.
Yeah, and right there just following his blockers. His Benedictine team, a little bit more of a gap-style running team, so they block to create gaps as opposed to zone scheme where you block certain zones to create openings. So looks like some confusion up front.
Iacampo looked to change the play on 2nd and 5, looks to throw, looking deep down the right side, and he's got that one complete. That'll flip the field, and it's Xander Smith, a former Wildcat, doing some damage.
That's what he did so well when he was here. Those one-on-one balls downfield, ever since freshman year, he could go up and get him, and that's why Iacampo changed the play, was he saw man-on-man coverage on the outside with Billy Cole, size advantage right there, and a big play downfield by Smith.
Yeah, and Smith stands at 6'2". Cole, I'd say just a little bit shorter, standing at 5'9", so had the height advantage for sure. And this will get Benedictine near midfield at the 49 officially. The tight end in the game is Patrick Shea. He motions. This one a handoff, Forte. And he gets wrapped up. Caden Marvin. But there is a penalty marker on the field. right around where that run ended. And it's going to be a hold on the Bengals.
Yeah, it looked like there was a jersey tug there on the outside. They're going to end up calling it a block in the back officially, but whatever the call is, same result. Certainly you back yourselves up behind the sticks, and both teams have really played an unclean half of football thus far. Just too many penalties on both sides of the football, and you set yourself back 1st and 20, and it makes things really difficult on your offense. So I'm sure you've got a section of plays that you call on 1st and long, so they'll go to that right here.
So 1st down and 20 after the penalty. And it's crucial if you're the Wildcat defense that you hold this drive here. Spikes will motion fast out of the backfield. Iacampo will hand up the middle. Forte, another penalty marker on the play, but Nick Rivera with a nice stop.
Yeah, it might be another hold, and in this case, you might just decline that penalty since
It will be a hold.
Yeah, they only picked up about a yard, but if you enforce it, you fall back another 10, so it'd be 1st and 30 as another injured Bengal.
And that's the 4th one tonight. And he looks to be in some distress.
Just horrible injury luck for Benedictine tonight.
As we'll get a look at Benedictine's schedule the remainder of the way. Started the season 4-0, lost last week to Lake Catholic here at Don Shula Stadium. Lost that one 6-3. Next week, taking on Lutheran East. And they go and play a team out in Pennsylvania in Cathedral Prep. And they wrap it up against VASJ and St. Vincent and St. Mary. So definitely not as tough as the schedule for the Bengals, but one that they definitely know they can win. And they're going to look to do that and get themselves deep into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, Cathedral Prep, a team that we saw play Riverside, the team we faced last week. Obviously, Riverside able to come away with that one by 2 scores, so a game that Benedictine could take care of. And they had a sour taste in their mouth last year. Made it to the regional final in Division III. They had a really good team last year. Only lost to Walsh by 1 score, but lost to Padua in the regional final in a little bit of an upset, if you will. Might have been the regional semifinal, I beg your pardon, but they made a deep playoff run, and they came up short, and that left a bad taste in their mouths, so they've started strong this year.
Iacampo looks to throw, uncorked steep, looking, and had Reese some early contact from Michael Packer, but no penalty marker on the field.
Yeah, really good safety help over the top right there by Packer. Came over, was able to swat that ball down right there. Had man coverage with Owen O'Brien there, but a little bit of a cover 2 look there. Michael Packer having that far sideline, able to come over and make a play there.
And it looked like Reese was almost playing defensive back, trying to stop Packer from intercepting that pass. Very overthrown by Iacampo there. But it's 3rd down and 20 for the Bengals right here.
3rd and 20, Iacampo trying to get the Bengals some yards here. It'll be a hand Forte, and they're just going to try to gain some yardage back, and another penalty. And I think they're going to get the right guard, Wilson, on this one.
Honestly, if you're the Wildcats, you just keep accepting these penalties to get the yardage, the field position yardage. Because if you have a good punt, if you're Benedictine right here, you could maybe pin the Cats back. They do decline the penalty.
Yeah, I think it's the right call right there to decline the penalty because, I mean, you never know what can happen. They could break it big there on 3rd down, although very unlikely. But, you know, you're happy to get your defense off the field. Give your offense another chance, and we'll see how the kick is right here. You've got your returners back at about the 30, and they're explosive, so you've got a chance to set yourself up in some solid field position.
Majors on to punt on the way yet again. Has good protection. A great kick. Cole fields from his 20. Cole cuts back across. Makes a man miss. Cole still on his feet. Reaches out to the 45. Make it the 44 officially. And again, great field position for the Cats.
Yeah, so the punt only really going 10 net yards after the great return by Billy Cole. You know, he's just making people miss left and right. And the first punt for the Wildcats today where there's no penalties. Nice to see that, you know, cleaned up. And now the offense has to bounce back. You know, defense has been making their stops ever since that big play on the first of the game. Now Micken in the offense have an opportunity. Benedictine running low at corner and in the secondary due to injuries. Maybe try to exploit that.
So it'll be hand. Colwell hits the hole hard and picks up 6 on the first down carry.
Nice blocking up front by the offensive line there. It seemed like when Colwell hit contact, he was already about 4 yards past the line of scrimmage, just setting up a nice little run.
Yeah, good block there by Janicek and Blasco there to create that hole for Colwell. Again, solid run there on first down, 2nd and 4. You're at midfield. Playbook is open right here.
Micken will toss it to Colwell, who gets a block upfield. And Colwell picks up the first down. Good downfield running. And he picks a good hole to go at.
Nice hit there, though, by Spikes in the middle after that nice run. And when Colwell gets a toss on the outside like that, he is shot out of a cannon. Spikes just laying the hammer down.
Yeah, and his helmet got a little messed up on the play. Had some assistance getting that fixed. Cats go a little bit fast. Colwell gets it, and he gets chopped down by Spikes. A great tackle off of his edge spot and just wraps him down.
Yeah, Spikes has had a nice game tonight, both on the offensive and defensive sides of the football. And right there, you run it 3 times in a row. Eventually, they know it's coming, and they stop it right there. So 2nd and 10, they're probably going to throw the football right here. But if you can start to establish the run, I mean, it's a good old saying when you establish, not the saying, but you know when you establish the run that good things can start to open up in the passing game. And they've had opportunities tonight. Just got to take advantage.
Yeah, 21 personnel, 2 tight ends in the game who make a block, but the run goes pretty much nowhere for Colwell. He's visibly upset. Kind of got tripped up, and it goes for a little gain. Now Zach Putka will sprint into the game.
Yeah, maybe just a 3rd down back right here. Might try to pass pro here, or keep him in here on 3rd and long. Give your quarterback some extra time in the pocket. Those deep shots have been open downfield, so if you have the protection and you deliver a good on-time throw, then there's a chance right there. But Benedictine also knows that here on 3rd and 10, so they're going to be conscious of that. Or maybe they bring the pressure, try to throw you off.
Takancic will motion. Micken drops the throw. Looks Luke Sims' way. Sims with separation. And some early contact again. Again, they'll let it go. And Reese with great coverage on the play.
Hard to see if he had his back arm tangled up right there. Tried to catch it with his left arm one-handed. Looked like Sims wanted a penalty, so maybe there was a flag right here. Let's see. Good ball by Micken right there. And yeah, he did have his back arm tied up there a little bit, but overall solid coverage right there. And some hand fighting going on, but again, the Cats come up empty, no call or not.
Another high snap, and Hummer's gonna throw it. He's got Quinn Kennedy, and he drops it.
Well, Hummer is also a quarterback, and they used it right there. I was a little bit confused for a second why he was taking so long to get that one away, but it was because he was going to throw the football. He's played a ton of QB on JV and had Kennedy wide open right there. Just couldn't corral it.
Yeah, and Hummer, just a good throw too. A nice spiral, put it right on Kennedy.
Yeah, under pressure as well.
It just kind of fell between his hands.
I think Kennedy was focusing on his run after the catch. He had wide open space in front of him and just forgot the ball, and that's a killer for the Wildcats. You execute a fake punt like that, and it was so close to working. Could have had a nice gain, but Benedictine has the ball at their own 44.
That's one of the situations where you kind of get in your own head a little bit. You're so open, and that ball is so softly thrown that you kind of start thinking about it too much, and just took his eye off of it.
It'll be a pass from Iacampo. That one a good throw onto the outside shoulder and complete. McLean was in coverage, but Smith, with another good reception.
Yeah, he's really good in one-on-one, good in jump balls as we saw earlier, and right there just running an out route. Good zip on that ball by Iacampo. And they're playing a lot of man coverage downfield as they have all year. And right now, Xander Smith is finding the open space and picking up first downs as he did right there. Maybe a little bit of extra motivation tonight going against the Cats, but he's doing a great job.
1st and 10. Shea will motion. Low snap, Corral picked up another hand and then brought down there by Spinos.
Spinos has been great all year in that nose roll and comes up with the tackle right there, but there just wasn't a lot of push up front by the Cats, and that's why they were able to get positive yardage right there.
But a hard tackle from Spinos chucked Forte to the ground.
Yeah, good wrap up.
And the defense, I mean, despite the big plays and a couple of passes to Xander Smith, they've looked good, and the offense just, you know, despite good field position, hasn't been able to get any points to this point.
Yeah, Benedictine has also had some drives that have looked like they're going well, but just get backed up because of penalties or whatever it is.
Another hand. Forte breaks a tackle, still on his feet, and then wrapped up by Nick Rivera. And he'll be around 3 yards short ahead of 3rd down.
And this has also been a quick-moving first half, so you've only got 3 minutes left. Maybe Benedictine decides to take a risk right here. If it gets to 4th down and 3rd and short right here, you might play for 4 downs, but the Cats also get the ball to start the second half, so maybe some chess going on here, chess match going on at the end of this first half, trying to manage that clock. I mean, you've got it at the 36 right here, so I think you can almost play for 4 downs unless you want to pin him back here and try to be content with your 7-0 lead going into the half.
Campo, play action, looking for his tight end. Spikes, he's got it, breaks a tackle, and he's got the first down.
It looked like the Wildcats were just about there, but a nice running throw by Campo with pressure in his face to just nearly pick up that first down. He didn't have it originally, but nice broken tackle by Spikes off of Wayland's pursuit. Gets the Benedictine first down.
Now Benedictine driving with 2:05 left to go. So, you know, they got a couple plays here, and the clock's going to run down, so unsure if the Wildcat offense will get another shot. Spikes motions out. Hand Forte up the middle and then cuts it and picks up around 4.
And clock,
the Wildcats will take a timeout.
Clock might be an issue for Benedictine. I mean, you have 1:45, only 1 timeout. And their bread and butter has been their run game so far. So, see if they can open up the playbook a little bit, go through the air.
Yeah, and their run game is their strength, certainly, and it's been solid tonight, but they've really thrown the ball pretty well tonight, a lot better than they did last week, and I feel like we've said the same thing multiple weeks this season. We said it against Menor, we said it against Riverside, and we're saying it again against Benedictine, where it's like you have to force them to throw the football, and they are throwing the football, but they're doing it really well. And you're seeing that again here in the first half. You only get 7 points overall, but they've had some chunk plays through the air, but they just haven't been able to finish drives. We'll see if they can finish this one right here, go into the half with a 2-score lead.
And you mentioned those 2 games in Riverside and Menor, but also against Walsh Jesuit. They had a couple of huge runs go for touchdowns here at the same stadium, and the Wildcats lost 31-0. Second down and 7. Campo will send Forte to his left side. Campo drops, rolls out right, and then throws that one nearly intercepted. Quinn Kennedy almost took it away.
Yeah, it was looking Xander Smith's way there on the far side the whole time. McLean was in coverage right there, step for step with them. Smith came back to the football a little bit, and that's when Campo tried to throw it right there as you see him flushed out of the pocket. Smith comes back towards him, but really athletic play there by Quinn Kennedy, getting his hand on the football, bringing up 3rd down here from the 31.
You know, he's mad at himself for not intercepting that, but A lot of zip on that ball from Iacampo.
3rd down and 7 officially for the Bengals. 4 receivers into the ball game. Some tight coverage from the Wildcats too. Iacampo pump fakes, throws across the middle, spikes, he's got it. And he gets himself down into the Kolich Jewelers diamond zone and flips the sticks for a 1st down.
Good route, good timing right there, and a perfect ball by Iacampo. The little pump fake right there. I mean, great ball, fitting it right between Rivera and Thomas there in the secondary, and now you've got a real chance to make this a 2-score game at the half.
1:20 in draining on the clock. Forte, the running back, in the game. Now on the left side of Iacampo. Iacampo looking towards Smith, and McLean, bit handsy, gets away with it, and it's incomplete.
That's becoming a battle there on the outside a little bit between McLean and Smith. 2 guys who know each other very well, obviously going to the same school, played on the basketball team last year together, played freshman basketball together, albeit on different teams, and obviously on the football team together, classmates. So guys who know each other very well, both competitive, and it's turning into a pretty good bout there, trying to run that fade to the outside, but just no separation overall. And they're entrusting McLean here in man coverage.
1:09 left in the 1st half. But Benedictine driving. Patrick Shea, the tight end, motions. Hand Forte up the middle, found a hole. Still moving with the pile. And then brought down around the 5-yard line. And some late extracurriculars. Now the clock inside of a minute.
Yeah, and this is playing out really well for Benedictine unless you get stood up here on the goal line, which we have seen happen before with this Wildcat defense. But I think at this point, if you don't get it here and it turns into 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 4th and 5 or beyond that, you just kick the field goal and go into the half up by 2 scores. You'll be content with that as they're going to let the clock run here. Iacampo on the sideline, just letting this clock drain. So it's either we score a touchdown on this play or we take our 3 points the play after, not giving the Cats any opportunity.
So they'll take a timeout with 19.5 seconds left to go in the half. And like you said, Alex, they're not leaving the Wildcat offense any time to get back on the field. Out of this 3rd down, they're probably going to take a shot to the end zone as they're out of timeouts and then bring on the field goal unit.
Yeah, most likely going to throw it. You don't want a completed pass down in the field that would run the clock down. So the Wildcats just trying to make another goal line stand as they have before.
Yeah, I could see them going to another one of those goal line fades right there that they tried to run before. The one to Xander Smith on the outside was way off right there, but you throw it one-on-one ball. Hopefully it doesn't get intercepted. You got to be smart right here as well. Don't want to get picked off or have a turnover occur when you've got a real opportunity right here to go up by 2 scores heading into the half. Again, game obviously not even close to over, but technically on the road, although you are very familiar with this place, going into the half up by 2 scores, you're going to feel really good about yourself.
Student section for the Wildcats gets roaring the I love the Cats chant. Huge 3rd and 5. Iacampo is going to pass. Iacampo rolling, throws to the end zone, and that one's incomplete. Great coverage in the back corner by Jayshon Thomas. Jarred it free out of Caden Forte's hands. And here comes Nate Majors on to attempt a field goal.
First read wasn't open. Second read wasn't open. Iacampo forced to look back the other way, but Jayshon Thomas all over that one. Really good job there in coverage to not get too handsy and cause the penalty, and made a good play on the football. So now you'll be content taking your 3 points, but you got to drill it. That PAT almost got blocked earlier, so something to watch.
23 yards. Majors kick on the way, and Majors drills it. His 2nd field goal of the year, and that will give Benedictine a 10-point lead with just under 8 seconds to go in the 1st half.
The thing is here, you didn't drain the clock all the way down, so now the Wildcat kick return unit has a chance to maybe do something special here. They're probably not going to try to kick it to Billy Cole as they've seen what he can do. but we'll see what can happen on this kick return. They'll probably kick it to an up man.
And before the kick, we'll get a look at the series history. The Wildcats lead the old-time series with 18 wins, 14 losses, and 1 tie. Again, their last meeting, 2004, where the Cats won at 43-6. But they met 10 times in the city championships. They called that one. And, you know, they didn't win all of them, but in that rivalry game. And the Wildcats will try to extend the win this week.
I think Coach Franziger called it the Charity
game.
Bowl.
That's
Charity Bowl. That's
Charity
what
Bowl.
it was called.
That's what I was
I know
looking
Dave
for.
was thinking of it. Yeah.
Blanked.
Called it the Charity Bowl a little bit. 2 schools with a rich history. Met a lot, obviously, in the 20th century, but early 2000s had some matchups as well, so kind of renewing that matchup right here.
When Kennedy gets ran into by Billy Cole, and he's down with 7 seconds left to go. And it's just been one of those games for the Wildcats. We'll see what they do here, if they just take an E or if they try to take a deep shot.
Kind of a goofy looking play there. Cole had enough time to run under it, but Kennedy was just camped under there as one of the up men and kind of just caused confusion, and Kennedy went down to a knee when he caught the ball, so there was no real chance of a return there.
Yeah, ideal kick right there.
Caused confusion.
Yeah, pinning them back far enough so that they can't really try a Hail Mary, but also not giving an opportunity for the Cats to return that football, as it looks like they'll just take a knee right here, take it into the half.
So Micken takes a knee, and the clock will wind down. That'll do it for the first half. Benedictine with a 10-point lead over the Wildcats, and the offense for the Wildcats just could not get it going. So we'll step aside before the half. It's Benedictine 10, Wildcats nothing on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. And welcome into halftime. The St. Ignatius Wildcats trail the Benedictine Bengals 10-0. This broadcast brought to you by Cleveland Home Title, as well as Cole Extruders. Yeah, so the Wildcats' slow start couldn't really get it going, and really the offensive side of the ball, and that's why they trail it by 10.
Yeah, on offense for St. Ignatius, they had a couple people open, receivers open on deep routes, but Micken just out of reach on the throws. The run game been pretty stuffed out by Benedictine, and a lot of penalties for the Wildcats. So definitely some things to work on heading into halftime.
Yeah, and conversely, for the Bengals, a really solid half overall. Anytime you're going into the half with a 10-point lead, you feel really good. And they've shut down the Wildcat offense totally. They haven't run the ball well. They've had some opportunities throwing the ball, but they really haven't done that great as well. Some missed opportunities there. The run being up and down. Some things Benedictine's got to clean up. They've shot themselves in the foot too many times, but you're up by 10 going into the half, so you got to feel good with that.
Now let's take a look at the most recent induction into the St. Ignatius Athletic Hall of Fame.
First impressions of Brian were, here's this lengthy young man with a cannon for an arm, and you could tell he had the mentality for quarterbacking. I mean, you can have a guy throw it a mile, but if he doesn't get the concepts, you're throwing the ball against the brick wall. And he really understood what we're trying to do, and I think he got excited about that. Hey, you're dropping back and you're not looking at the receivers at all. You're looking at the secondary. And the secondary is going to tell you, what they're doing is going to tell you where you're going to throw it. I mean, you could see the gleam in his eye when he started to understand that. And then you knew, okay, this guy's physically a quarterback, he's mentally a quarterback.
You saw in him was competitiveness. Just an unbelievable competitor. He just refused to lose. He was just an unbelievable athlete, and certainly football is where he made his mark in the long run as a basketball player his freshman year, and then a huge impact on the varsity team as a freshman in 2001. And you knew you had something special in him. On the mound, he was unbelievable, and at the plate, even better.
I was able to coach Brian with the Chicago Bears in 2016. We signed him initially as our backup quarterback, but about a third of the season in, because of injury, he becomes our starting quarterback. Immediately, you can see once the job became his, the professionalism, the things that he had learned, the way that he commanded the room, the way he talked to his teammates, the way he handled the quarterback room. He was extremely coachable. Even though he had already had experience with somebody else and had success doing other things, he came in with an open mind, so it was an easy guy to coach because he challenged you in the right way, but a great person inside and out.
It was pretty clear to everybody, by the time he got to junior year, playing multiple sports, and he certainly, by sophomore year, going into junior year, had to say, at the next level, college, you're starting to think about that. Do I do both? But high school, it's nice to say, yes, that does happen. And it's wrong for high schools to say, no, you got to concentrate on one. What helped Brian was that, hey, everybody's encouraging you to do both. Brian, play them all.
Well, winning the title in 2002, our first ever in school history, he was a sophomore. He was the starting pitcher in the championship game and pitched a great game and gave us a chance to win there in the end, which we did. I think what got lost in a lot of that is he was such a good pitcher, but also an amazing hitter. He still holds the record for most career home runs. He was a force at the plate, and certainly on the mound too.
There's always a common bond when we're talking about people who went to St. Ignatius, specifically who played under Coach Kyle and Coach Restifo. What he stood for as a man, as a father, as a teammate, as someone I could coach. But the reality is there's a common bond between all of us just because of how Coach Kyle and Coach Restifo really brought us along in teaching us the game of football and more importantly, the game of life. And it was seamless when Brian was in the quarterback room. It was an unspoken thing. We kind of just looked at each other. We kind of knew what each other was thinking. And it was an unbelievable experience for me and a privilege for me to coach him.
Excellent example of what we would want in our Hall of Fame. He was a young man that came in and realized that academically he wanted to step up to the challenges. You can see, just follow his life, he loves the challenge. He loved the toughest challenges he could get. Now, Brian here he is with the Cleveland Browns, and just having that opportunity to be in the stadium where he was a little kid, that watching all the great Browns teams with Bernie Kosar and all that, and he gets to go out there and pull one out for the Browns.
Well, St. Ignatius really prepared me for a career in football after I left there, whether it was Michigan State or the NFL, by the program that Coach Kyle had installed and ran there for a long time. It was a very professional program. Learning how to play quarterback from Coach Restifo really set me up for what my career would become. And I learned that from an early age. Even though I was just on the freshman team, he would come over and give some pointers, and I'll never forget freshman year going out for quarterback on the freshman team. There was 15 kids who wanted to play quarterback. Now to be sitting here and being inducted with some great members of this Hall of Fame, it's truly an honor.
And welcome back to halftime. Benedictine with a 10-0 lead over the St. Ignatius Wildcats after the first half. And we'll get a quick look at our first half stats.
So for St. Ignatius and Benedictine, they haven't been able to really move it on the ground. Benedictine winning in that department 45-28 for the Wildcats, but they have totally outplayed the Wildcats in the passing game, 147 yards to the Wildcats 20.
And you look at it, 192 total yards for Benedictine and 8 first downs, but only 10 points, which tells me that they've had a lot of drives that they haven't been able to finish. Only one touchdown drive on one big play. They did have the field goal to end the half, so that's a positive sign, but they've had some encouraging drives that have fallen short because of penalties or whatever it may be.
Now we'll get into our second half ways to succeed for both teams.
Yeah, and for St. Ignatius, I'm just going to say get on the board. You know, 0 points in the first half after a 40-plus point performance against Riverside last week. So you're definitely going to want to just get that first points on the board, break the seal, then hopefully more can come.
And I think for Benedictine, it's going to be establishing the run game. Coming into this game, averaging 150 rushing yards per game. They only had 45 in the first half. And when you're winning in a game like this, you want to establish the run game, control the time of possession, bleed time off the clock, and get your offense going and get back to running the football really well. That's also going to help to open up your passing game even more than it has already.
Well, don't go anywhere. The second half is up when we come back. Benedictine and St. Ignatius.
Is to see it for yourself. We invite all 8th grade students to spend a day with us on campus and to see a day in the life of a St. Ignatius student up close and personal. Sit in on classes, meet our students and our teachers, enjoy lunch on us in our dining hall. See what makes this place so special. We can't wait to host you guys on our campus for Wildcat for a Day. Go Cats!
back with you for the start of the second half. A nice shot of this crescent moon tonight on this great September 26th Friday night. And before the start of the second half, we have Henry Kober with an update from the locker room talk.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. In the locker room, offensive coordinator Coach Ruddy was talking to his offense, and he just brought up 3 key points for the Wildcats to come back and win this game. First was he told Jacob Micken to read the defense better. He said Jacob was throwing it way too fast and not reading the defense correctly. Second, he said they can't get behind the sticks and get backed up because 2nd and 20 is almost impossible compared to 3rd and 3. Finally, he said, last week we were down 3 against Riverside. We're only down 10 today. This game is nowhere near over, and that's all for me. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Henry, and definitely not insurmountable for the Wildcats. They did start down by a score 20-7 last week against Riverside. Came back with a great second half and got a victory, but they really got to get the offense going.
And the thing is that we keep talking about it, but they constantly start slow offensively, and it's made an even bigger point by the fact that they haven't had that many possessions in the first half, and when they did, they just kind of sputtered out. So hopefully in the second half they get the ball first. That's going to be a key possession to try and get some points on the board. It'd be a big morale boost. Not only would it get you back within 1 score, but it gets you mentally back into the game more, because right now it just feels like you could do nothing right offensively. And we saw last week against Riverside, once one thing starts to go right, and we kind of saw it against Menor a little bit offensively as well, once you start to get one thing going right offensively, everything starts to click into place. So a big drive coming out of the half for the Cats.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with just getting those passes downfield to your receivers, who arguably are your best playmakers on the team. Trey Haddad, Luke Sims, Marcus DeCancic, and they've just been so close to connecting and just haven't been able to do that tonight.
Yeah, and they've designed plays to try to get Sims in open space. They threw a little hitch route and it just got blown up by the Benedictine defense. But those deep balls, like you said, Dave, just out of reach. And if some of those are caught, it's a different story right now, and maybe the Cats are in the lead. Just a couple things like that can significantly shift the outcome of the game.
So just a couple seconds away now from the start of the second half, and like we said, the Wildcats will be getting the ball first, and it's crucial that they can go downfield and get something going offensively. The defense, despite the early mishap, has looked very good since. They only allowed those 3 points at the end of the half on the field goal from Nate Majors to make the score 10-0, but the defense has really done their job tonight, and we've just kind of been waiting all season for both the offense and the defense to work. This is the half to do it.
And they haven't really had that click yet. Even in the win against Riverside last week, their defense really struggled, and it's kind of been disappointing to see them have a little bit more struggle as the season has gone on. But Benedictine, an offense that has struggled all year, but you take out that big 70-yard play at the start of the half, and they're just a little bit over 100 yards on the game. So overall, I mean, that's kind of an outlier play from what this defense has done. Benedictine has struggled to finish drives. That's another problem that they've had. But again, just a big series for the Cats. Ideally, I mean, you just got to get on the board right here. Adam talked about it at the half, is you just got to score points, and getting some on this first drive would get you back into the game, swing momentum. I mean, you're in it right now, but it would make it 1 score, swing momentum, and have you feeling good offensively, and things will start to roll if you could get some points right here.
So per the usual, Billy Cole back deep to receive, but Majors not a huge run-up, only gave himself 5 yards. He's not going to be kicking Cole's way. They'll kick at Owen Colwell. And he cuts it back across the field, makes a man miss, and then dives his way up to the 35. So Colwell also a dangerous returner and gets himself some good field position.
Yeah, and Colwell not usually a much better option for Benedictine to kick the ball to. I mean, he's very explosive. He just didn't get that extra run-up that Cole might have gotten. They kicked it to him at about the 16, 17-yard line. So Colwell still getting to about the 34-yard line, which is fantastic starting field position. It seems like the Wildcat return unit, again, has been doing that continually this year.
Yeah, and Colwell returned a lot last year, and we saw him early this year being back deep to return. So a solid return overall right there. Decent field position But again, just got to get it going.
So it'll be a hand. Caldwell met at the line and just dragged backwards. Spikes with a great game in the first half, continues it in the second.
He just ran into his blocker right there. Grayson Hackadakis on the far side trying to create that hole. Held his block pretty well, but got pushed back a little bit at the point of attack right there. And ended up bumping into Colwell, tripping him up a little bit, and the result is no gain there.
Man, it just begs the question when you're finally going to throw the ball on first down. It's been run, 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 and they haven't gotten the pass going deep. Second down now for the Cats. 4 receivers. And Micken is going to throw. Steps up in the pocket, and he's going to go down. Micken just ran out of time, and it was a huge play there by Will Eschke to get him in the backfield.
Had all the time in the world, but it looked like the spy just kind of came down when he realized Micken had nowhere to go. Wasn't able to break contain. Not much pressure off the edge, but they didn't stray too far out of their rush lanes right there, and Micken, nothing open downfield, just forced to eat the sack. So this Benedictine defense has been plagued with injuries, but they found guys to step in, and they've done a great job. Again, still no points for the Cats, and you're behind the sticks where they don't want to be.
Micken designed rollout, looking for Takancic on the out route, and the baseball connection gets the Cats near the 40, but still going to be short of the first down.
You're going to have 5 to go, and you're in your own territory, so Coach Franzinger is going to bring on the punt unit. And a 3-and-out on your first series out of the half after not scoring in the first half is definitely not ideal if you're St. Ignatius, although that was a pretty good connection on that throw.
Yeah, good route, good protection, good ball right there, but when you're behind the sticks, you're limited. And right there, a good play still isn't enough.
And a good punt. That one bounces. Live ball, and it's another touchback. Oh, my.
Well, the question is, did he get his hands on it? Because he went out to grab it and just missed it.
That's what Coach Franzinger, I think, is having a word about.
Yeah, you're not going to.
That would be a touchback if he did touch it.
No, it'd be. If
no,
he
but
touched
like
it, it's a muff punt.
Well, yeah. We'll get a replay. We'll see if he did. Ooh.
It's
That
tough.
was close. I don't think he did.
Yeah, if the Cats go and pick it up there, but they try to take it out of the end zone. Gavin Foss right there.
Just an unbelievable punt, though, by Hummer.
Yeah.
He was on around his own 30, I believe, and just boomed that punt. Rolled all the way into the end zone.
Campo in his offense. Back to work for the first time this half. Patrick Shea will motion. There'll be a hand here for Tay, and he picks up a couple on the first down carry.
Yeah, looking back at that last play, kind of tricky right there. If the Cats were to recover it, although they didn't rule it a muffed punt, obviously, if they recovered it in the end zone, which they probably would have, it would have been a Cats touchdown. But if Benedictine goes back and recovers that football, obviously a touchback. But a close play right there and a missed opportunity was hard to see on the replay. And a solid run there on first down for the Bengals, picking up 5 yards.
First down's been good for the Bengals all night, but it's really been second and third where they've struggled. And try to erase that here and just get it going. Campo had himself a very good first half after struggling last week. Shea will motion back across the line. It'll be a fake pitch, now a hand for Tay with blocks. Spins off of a tackle and then finally brought down there. And after all that work, only got maybe 1 or 2.
Dancing a lot, trying to evade tackles. Spinos again wraps him up.
Generous spot, in my opinion. Kind of ran backwards. I don't think he was really forced with that forward progress. Just kind of ran himself backwards, but now it'll be 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, and we see early on what we talked about at half that Benedictine needs to do, and that is establish the run. They've run it twice. They picked up 9 yards, 3rd and 1. Maybe they go back to the well for the 3rd time in a row with this short down and distance.
Spikes the tight end into the game. Hand to Forte. Forte met at that first down marker, and I think he got it, but a nice tackle by Ryan Whalen nevertheless, and he did get the first down.
Yeah, tough right there because the Cats did a great job snuffing that one out, but when it's such short down and distance, you put yourself at a disadvantage, obviously, and they get just enough for the first down, and time already starting to wind down here in this third quarter. Obviously, still plenty of time, but hardly 4 minutes have gone by, and if Benedictine can continue to get incremental gains like that running the football, it's going to be tough for the Cats.
And the atmosphere just kind of quiet right now. Not much to go for, especially on this Wildcats side of the field. Now the student section gets into it. Forte will flip to the right side of Iacampo. He rolls, looking, throws downfield, and that one was incomplete. Good coverage by Drummond.
Yeah, they've done a designed rollout a few times right there. Iacampo dangerous outside the pocket, throwing on the run. And he's done a pretty good job so far. That ball, tight coverage, tight window, wasn't able to fit it in right there. Good job by Logan Drummond there, working on him on the far side.
And good blocking, though, by the Benedictine offensive line. Gave him time to throw and roll out there. Just couldn't put it up there to his receiver.
Now it's second down and 10. And the Bengals took a lot of time to get to the line. Now Spikes will motion out. Play action. Pressure coming as a drop down here to Forte. And in space, he gets himself around 6 yards.
That's a solid second down play right there, just getting it to your back in space. Looked one way to deceive the defense a little bit right there. Under pressure, able to dump it off to his back right there in Forte, who's had a solid game tonight, getting the bulk of the reps. And you bring up 3rd and 3, it makes it a 3rd and manageable and gives you options again here.
So 3rd and 3. Bengals have it on their own 37. Line to gain is the 41. Iacampo will motion Spikes. And it's going to be a handoff. That one's met at the line, and it's going to be 4th down. And a huge stop by the Wildcat defense. And it was actually Earl Jackson on the run, his first carry of the night.
Yeah, nothing he could do right there. Run up the middle. Pretty basic play design, but just ran into a brick wall. No push up front by that Benedictine offensive line, and he just got stuffed right there. So brings up 4th and 1 and decision time here for the Bengals.
It seems like the Cats are, the Bengals are staying on the field.
Now they will bring on the punt team late.
Yeah, they can afford to be a little bit passive in this situation, because the last thing you want to do is give a Wildcat offense that is struggling a short field and the ability to put points on the board pretty easily. So see if you could send this one away. Probably won't get great field position if you're the Bengals, but you'll make them operate from their own territory, barring a big return.
Punt is a good one. Cole calls for fair catch, and he's got it at the 31. So we'll step aside ahead of the Wildcats' next drive. You're watching the Rock Entertainment Sports Network.
The best way to get to know St. Ignatius is to see it for yourself. We invite all 8th grade students to spend a day with us on campus and to see a day in the life of a St. Ignatius student up close and personal. Sit in on classes, meet our students and our teachers, enjoy lunch on us in our dining hall. See what makes this place so special. We can't wait to host you guys on our campus for Wildcat for a day. Go Cats.
Back with you midway through the third quarter. Micken on first down will pass. He's got Haddad, but he drops it. Another huge drop from the Cats. And Haddad had green grass just in and out of the hands.
Yeah, it looked like maybe a little bit of RPO action right there. Just a quick throw to the outside. Yeah, based on the blocking, might have been an RPO certainly. And a good decision right there and a good throw, but Haddad just couldn't corral it right there. And that's unfortunate. They've had some opportunities tonight that they've missed out on, certainly.
That play, along with the fake punt drop by Quinn Kennedy, just two that come to mind for the Wildcats as big missed opportunities.
2nd and 10. Micken going to throw again. Drops all the way back. Tried to dump it off to Jake Babinski, and he never broke free of the block. And that's going to go as an incompletion, and now a late flag. And they're going to get a sideline warning. They're going to get it on Coach Sheridan. So it's just a warning. No yards enforced, but
It's been that kind of night.
yeah.
It's been a frustrating game for the Cats.
It just seems like despite the defensive success, despite the one play to start the game, they just haven't gotten anything to go their way, and the offense has looked static.
And I mean, it's not like they've had a lot going on a lot of these drives. At least for Benedictine, it's like, well, they've had some drives gain some traction and fall short, but the Cats really haven't been on the other side of midfield all that often, and it seems like their offense just isn't getting much better as the game goes on.
Now Micken is going to throw again. Steps up in the pocket, pressure coming, throws to Haddad, and Haddad's got it in space across the 50. Makes a move to the outside. He's still in bounds. Haddad will go all the way for a touchdown.
Just running a simple crosser over the middle. Man-on-man coverage right there. And he was wide open. We're going to get another taunting flag on the touchdown. That's back-to-back weeks we've had that happen. But you're going to see it right here. Just a crossing route over the middle. Maybe a dig. Something of that nature. Working man-on-man with Spikes, who's had a great night. But right there, enough separation for Haddad. Able to hang on to that one and stay in bounds somehow.
And like you said, unsportsmanlike on the Wildcats, and it's on the kickoff, and now it's really going to give some field position. And that's just unacceptable for the Wildcats. 2nd week in a row. And we talked to Coach Franzinger this week, and he said, the guys who did it last week, we addressed it. They did some conditioning. But, you know, they commit another dumb penalty.
Yeah, it was just silencing the crowd in the end zone, and the result is what you see, and forced down the kickoff.
Now Ritt on to attempt the PAT. And Ritt will stay perfect on the year, 10 for 10 on point after attempts. Now it's a one-score game. Cats only trail it by 3, 10-7, with 4:49 to go in the third. And before the kickoff, we'll get a look at the standings in Region 1. Mentor Cardinals undefeated sit at the top of that.
Yeah, and the thing about this region and about the OHSAA playoffs is that certainly it goes by record, but it's also the quality of your wins. So Riverside, a team that's had a solid season and with their schedule is probably going to continue to have a solid season. And the same goes with Benedictine tonight when you look at their schedule down the stretch. And for Ignatius, the 12th seed, they would play the Strongsville Mustangs in the first round if it were to end today. And there's some favorable matchups in there, or at least winnable games. But the top of that region loaded with a couple of powerhouses in Mentor and St. Ed's.
And you look at St. Ed's with that lone loss to Massillon last week, but Massillon actually down by a lot to Football North. Of all teams, a team the Wildcats will see in Week 10. And you usually look at that Football North game and say that might be a very winnable game, but a team that just beat the best team in the state losing to them.
And it feels like Football North is the definition of a team building a program, and we saw the Cats drop that game last year. Football North was a solid team last year, so don't let that deceive you a little bit. They played some tough games against some good teams like St. Edward. They kept fairly close, and they've started to get slowly better and better as the years have gone on, and this year they look like a very talented squad again.
So now after the unsportsmanlike, the kickoff's going to come from the 25, and Reese, the returner, stands on his 15. So a tough task ahead as Roberts takes his steps and sends it away. Reese Fields is at the 15, but a lot of room to run. Past the 30, gets himself to the 35, and then he's brought down. So the Wildcats kick defense, very good there, but again, the penalty gets the Bengals some good field position.
And I think when you look at it, the Cats, despite the penalty, just got a lot of momentum back. Benedictine got a lot with that big play early on. And for the Cats, you get a big strike right back, where again, it felt like your offense could do nothing right, but you get that to go right. And I think it's going to cause things to start to roll forward and the offense to start to gain some traction here as the game goes down the stretch. And all of a sudden, this is a really big drive for the Benedictine Bengals because it's back to a 3-point game. And if you give the ball right back to the Cats with that offense finally starting to find its legs, it's going to be dangerous.
Campo and the offense back to work. Forced to punt their last drive. And again, the defense still has stood strong despite that one big play. And it's just been the big plays all year, really, for the Wildcats defense that have cost them. As this will be a handoff, Forte up the middle. Hansen, the first one to get there, and it's a gain of 1.
And something else I've noticed, neither team has committed a turnover so far, and that could be big down the stretch, winning the turnover battle. Unless it stays tied at 0-0, I mean, whichever team gets a turnover could score off that turnover, and that could be big time. 2nd and 9 here for the Bengals. That's something the Wildcats have had trouble defending pretty much all year, is the long second down. Feels like the field opens up a little bit for the offense.
And the biggest game where that really came back to bite them was the Menor game with Jackson Farley, and they stopped him very well on first down, but it just felt like every second and long, the Cardinals were able to pick it up. So now it's 2nd down and 9 following the 1-yard gain. Spikes will motion the tight end. Campo pumps, pressure coming, and he's gonna go down. Quinn Kennedy shoots up the middle and sacks Campo.
Linebacker blitz right there. The line shifted to the right with the pressure coming from that side, and then Kennedy just comes in unblocked. You see that subtle shift in the line right there, accounting for Wirtz and Conrad right there getting some action here in the second half. Didn't see much of him in the first, and Kennedy just swarms in there, big sack, and you put him behind the sticks.
They gravitate towards Conrad because they know he's a big-time player. That opened up the wide-open hole up the middle for Kennedy to shoot through. Just a nice design by the Wildcats defense.
Now 3rd and 16 following the sack. Bengals just have 5 up front. No tight end in the game. Campo looks to throw across the middle, and he threw it behind Spikes. And it's incomplete, and the punt team are right back on.
And you're starting to feel that momentum shift back to the Wildcat side. That big touchdown, you do have the penalty, but your defense picks up your offense by not letting that penalty mean anything. Good job by the special teams as well, defending that kick return. So you give your offense the ball right back. They finally have some momentum going, and it's a chance to take the lead or tie this game up.
Yeah, going negative yards after the penalty is big time for that defense and their confidence.
So the punt is away, a good spiraling punt. Billy Cole fields from the 29, goes left, up the middle, now to the outside, Cole. And a penalty marker, of course. Cole got to the 50, but this one's going to be coming back. And 2 flags on the field.
Yeah, it looks like
why not
something towards the end of that play on the far side.
Just a quick update from Massillon. They lead it 34-2, or excuse me, they trail it 34-2 behind Football North. So,
wow.
And that game is in the 3rd quarter. So, Massillon, a team who just arguably took down the best team in the state, losing to Football North.
Is that game in Massillon, Washington? Yeah. Correct, because they only play on the road. That's a really tough environment to go into as well. That's why Ed's had trouble there, as the refs still disputing the extracurriculars there were on the far side, trying to sort this one out, especially with the holding as well. But yeah, that's a tough environment to go into, and they're doing it, and they're taking it to them. So that game, Week 10, is no longer a game that you kind of walk into like, okay, we should take care of business. It's another tough game on your very tough schedule.
I don't think you were thinking that way even going into the year. You lost to them last year, and that really kind of shocked you. Obviously, the Wildcats season not ideal last year at a 1-10 record, but losing 27-26 to Football North was just unfortunate for them, and they know how to take them this year, not for granted at all.
Okay. So we're going to get a look here. 2 penalties on the play. First one, horse collar tackle, as you see it there.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
And then Caden Marvin with a late hit, and that's just...
It was kind of going both ways.
I mean, it was going both ways, but late hit. So we'll see how they end up enforcing this.
Well, you also got to remember, I think there was a holding as well there on the near side, the one flag they threw at about midfield. So see how this is all called.
So horse collar tackle on the Bengals. Penalty was declined. Blocking the back on the Wildcats. And that's, or are they going to say that it offset because of the extracurriculars on Marvin? And then they enforce the hold or the block in the back?
Yeah. Well, let's see where they
end up spotting
this football.
This is where you wish you had the ref at the mic.
Yeah, the return was at about midfield, so.
Let me back him up.
We'll see.
It's to the 39. So he went out at the 49, 10-yard penalty enforced. Cats will take over at the 39.
Yeah, it seems like that's what they did right there.
And after a big touchdown last drive for the Wildcats, they have a chance to tie it and take the lead here, maybe. As Micken throws deep. He's got Luke Sims. And that one just out of the reach. Again, just missing a big play.
And for the first time tonight, Tyrell O'Neal got in there on that one, bringing the pressure, forcing Micken to slide back to his left and deliver that ball downfield with a little bit of pressure, and that's a really tight window and a really tough throw just out of the reach of Sims. And if that ball's right on him, and Benedictine might make a play on that football anyway to try to bat it down or something. So I don't mind the throw right there, but it's a very difficult one there on first down.
So now it'll be second down, most likely a run down for the Wildcats. Colo, the running back, and they're going to actually throw it. Micken scans, hits Luke Sims. Sims makes a move and then picks up a couple. Got himself to the 43. It'll be third down and 7.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world right there. Good job by Micken to keep the play alive there a little bit. Looked left, looked up the middle, and then went to his last resort in the flat to Sims, and he made something happen a little bit after the catch. Puts you at 3rd and 7, so certainly doable here, but probably putting the ball in Micken's hands through the air again here on 3rd.
Third down, and we'll get a timeout from the Bengals defense. And in the grand scope of things, 2:13 left in the quarter. It's going to be a big third down. During the break, make sure to follow NEO Productions on X at NEO TV 25, Instagram at NEO Productions 2025, TikTok at NEO Productions 25, and at YouTube at NEO Productions 2025. Do some great, 25, not 2025, but they do some great work with us, and we are grateful to have them producing. So third down up and coming for the Wildcats. And we'll see what they go to here. I don't really know how they're going to end up going. If they're going to, I mean, you got to assume they're going to throw it, but again, you got to be careful as the deep ball hasn't really hit, but you know, the one play I think back to is Takancic at the end of that first half, or Micken rolled out to his right and hit Takancic on that little out route. So wouldn't mind that play call here.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some guys who have been getting some separation all night. And, again, you don't need a ton of time in the pocket, but you do need time, certainly, to let the play develop. And hopefully you get some separation on this play. Micken could stand in there and deliver a ball downfield. And you only got to get to the 49 here. So 7 yards.
Micken drops, throws, got Luke Sims. Sims almost got to the outside. He got tripped up by Livingston, but the Cats move the sticks and pick up the first down.
Micken going to old reliable Luke Sims on that hitch route in the middle of the field throughout the defense and just got tripped up. He could have taken that one. Just tripped up, but good throw and catch there by Micken and Sims.
Yeah, good job as well by Colwell, giving Micken a split second more of time. Tyrell O'Neal finding his footing here in the second half, playing interior on that play, and Colwell picked him up well.
As here's a throw from DeCantic, airing it out to Sims, and that one is intercepted. That one was picked off by a guy we knew we were going to have to watch out for, Kellen Donnelly. And the Cats go tricky, and it backfires.
Yeah, right there. I mean, DeCantic, kind of an ill-advised throw. I mean, double coverage downfield. I don't know if that's the best play call in that situation. Maybe you want to catch him off guard, but Micken is finally finding his legs throwing the football, and you throw out something like that. But on top of everything, DeCantic just not the greatest throw there. That shortstop arm, but still a little bit underthrown on that one, and a big momentum swing back to Benedictine.
And I was talking to a couple of guys of the team. I knew they had that in the playbook.
I've seen him throwing warm-ups.
Yeah,
it looks pretty good, but that's a really tough throw right there downfield.
About the call there, especially late in the third quarter.
Hey, especially you got two gloves on, it makes it even harder to throw the football, so that's a tough one.
All right, Campo hands off to Forte to the outside, and the defense stands strong, doesn't pick up much. With the third quarter winding down.
The one positive of all that is that almost acted, although it was first down, but it did act almost as an arm punt because it pinned back Benedictine here a little bit. So the Cats defense can pin their ears back a little bit. Good job there on first down to limit it to a 1-yard gain.
So it's second down and 9,
but that was a big opportunity right there. You were
that's
marching downfield, and then you just give it right back.
Still just baffled at the decision there, but we move.
Wildcat defense has looked good. Here's a hand of Forte to the outside, and there's going to be a hold, I think, on the Bengals as Conrad couldn't get off the block. I think that came on their left guard, Braden Rose. We'll get an official word, and now Conrad is hurt.
Yeah, it looks like we've got multiple guys down.
That might be Ryan Whalen.
Marvin.
And now we'll get a look here at the remaining games on the Wildcats schedule during the injury timeout. So the St. Ignatius Wildcats take on St. Ed's next week. And this is, pardon me, not the Wildcat schedule, NEO Productions. It's St. Ignatius and St. Ed's next week. And then Football North and St. Ed's the week after. And then St. Xavier travels up to Cleveland to take on the Wildcats. And then Moeller and Ed's, one of the biggest games of the year, top 2 in the state. And then another Ed's game to finish that one off.
I was a little concerned there for a second. I'm like, you play 5 games in 4 weeks?
Yeah, well,
come on, Dave.
I didn't get the memo
Come on,
quite.
Dave.
My apologies.
It's all right. It's all good. All is good in the world.
So there was a penalty on the last play. So Benedictine backed up. It'll be 2nd and 13. A little bit more than that. 2nd and 14, maybe 15. Scoreboard has it at 13. All right, Campo's going to roll out to throw. Looks across the middle. That one nearly intercepted and incomplete.
Yeah, it looked like he might have had that route over the top. Just kind of a layered play right there on the designed rollout. Head throws at every level. Went to the intermediate route right there, and it was a tight window. Threw it behind him. Trying to make something happen on second down, backed up against your own goal line, but not getting something there makes this a less than ideal situation at your own 7, 3rd and 15.
So big play coming here, and One of the last plays of the third quarter, depending on if the clock stops due to incompletion. Spikes will motion. There'll be a handoff. And kind of cut back to the other way. Forte in space, and he got the first down. Thought that play was stuffed behind the line. Forte keeps the legs churning, picks up 20 plus, and moves the chains.
That is a huge swing play. You might look back at that one and look at it as a play where if the Cats would have made that play, they would have had a shot. Right there, Conrad was there but stuck on his blocker. Quinn Kennedy had him wrapped up but had him slip through his arms right there, and nobody was back on the other side of the field, so able to reverse field and get a big gain, so huge momentum swing before the fourth quarter.
So we will step aside. Benedictine 3-point lead over the Wildcats heading to the fourth. And welcome back for the start of the fourth quarter. Cats trail it by 3, and Benedictine picked up a huge first down before the quarter end. Forte with a lot of yards after contact. And like you said, Alex, that's a play you're going to look back at and be, hey, if we make that stop, we get the ball back, great field position. Game might go a little bit differently. But now the Wildcat defense has to stay out there.
3rd and 15, deep in your own territory. Broke a tackle that I think everybody in the stadium thought, oh, he was going to go down. Besides Forte, he got a good chunk of yards there to keep this drive churning.
Campo under center now. Patrick Shea, the tight end. Slow motion. Forte trips himself up.
So he refused to go down on the last play and then goes down without a touch here.
Seems like he just got a little bit over antsy right there.
Turf monster got him. Oh, he might have got tripped up on Campo, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he had some space there on the far side. Probably wouldn't have gotten a huge gain, but there were some solid blocks right there. But instead, you get backed up 3 yards. So thanks to the turf monster right there, you have an opportunity right here. Thanks for the impersonation, Dave. You're backed up behind the sticks right here, and it's an opportunity for the Cats defense to get themselves off the field and give your offense a chance.
Now a timeout. Benedictine burns their second timeout of the half.
So they did that in the first half too.
I was gonna say.
And with that timeout, we'll also take a timeout. You're watching St. Ignatius football on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network.
The best way to get to know St. Ignatius is to see it for yourself. We invite all 8th grade students to spend a day with us on campus and to see a day in the life of a St. Ignatius student up close and personal. Sit in on classes, meet our students and our teachers, enjoy lunch on us in our dining hall. See what makes this place so special. We can't wait to host you guys on our campus for Wildcat for a Day. Go Cats!
And back with you out of the timeout, a look at the St. Ignatius Marching Band. Drum major Sean Marco conducting the band. As we will get back to action. 2nd down and 13 after Forte got tripped up by the turf monster. 4 receivers in the game now. Campo rolls right away, looks for that screen, and Kennedy nearly got it. But there is a penalty in the backfield.
Yeah, going to be another holding, but that is a really ill-advised throw. If nothing is open and you've got the pressure in your face, and you just got to toss it away on that one. I mean, we'll see it right here. Tons of pressure, so great job by the Cats. But at that point, looked like maybe just outside the tackle box, but just try to toss that one to the sideline. I think the Cats will take that penalty, back them up, get that field position back that you lost on that big 3rd and long run conversion. Almost a big swing right there.
Yeah, and the penalty came as Wirtz nearly got to Iacampo in the backfield and just kind of got shoved and grabbed from behind before he was able to get there. So that'll back it way up. 2nd down and 23 for the Bengals. Line the game to the 25. Misdirection, Forte, and this time it's going to go backwards. And as Quinn Kennedy got there initially, James Conrad and Mikey Wirtz finish it off.
Just a nice effort by the Wildcats front 7 there to sniff out that run. Now it's 3rd and a while for Benedictine. It was 3rd and 15 before. Now it's 3rd and 25. So the Wildcats have to get off the field here by any means necessary.
Yeah, Quinn Kennedy, the one to first make contact. We're saying his name a lot because he's been all over the field tonight for the Cats, and we've talked about it multiple weeks, but he's having a really good year at that outside backer position and really complementing what Rivera does really well and what Conrad does when he's on the field and what Baker does when he's on the field. So now 3rd and long again, but this time you got to get the stop.
Hand to Forte to the outside, cuts it back up the middle, and this time he gets stopped. I think Nick Rivera is there as well as Spinos.
And we've seen Spinos multiple times just stick an arm out and wrap up these ball carriers. Just a fantastic job on the inside by Spinos. I think Forte might have had a hole to run there if Spinos and Rivera weren't there. And excuse me, it was Rivera who wrapped him up. The nice tackle, just stuck an arm out there.
Yeah, that's just a great open field tackle right there, and that's where the backers or the linebackers excel as well, is their ability to tackle in open space.
So now the Wildcats returners standing at the Benedictine 40-yard line.
Might try to block this one too. No, they'll just back
He's
off.
back. Not a great punt, but Haddad's going to let it bounce. Now he picks it up. Haddad makes a man miss. Still on his feet. Tried to cut to the middle, now cuts back to the near side. He's still up. And then Haddad gets past the 40, gets drilled out of bounds there. And a nice tackle. But the Wildcats with good field position, and we feel like I've said that a lot tonight.
Just an interesting play there. Haddad thought it was just going to let it bounce, picked it up, wiggled out of 1 tackle as he cut back, broke about 3 tackles, and then got leveled on the sideline.
Just a uncanny return there.
But again, you're at Benedictine's 39-yard line. 9 minutes left. Something has to happen on the offensive side of the ball here. Field goal to tie it up, points on a touchdown. Something has to go down right here.
Yeah, it starts with a good play here on 1st down. Don't set yourself back with a TFL or a penalty or a sack, something of that nature.
And a fumble. I think Bobinski was able to corral that one, but Spikes in the backfield blows it up, and the exchange was not clean.
Yeah, but he was all over that one from the start. Even if the exchange is clean, they're not going to get a lot of yardage right there. He just rushed right through. Looked like maybe the C gap right there, but hard to tell because he just went through untouched. So we talked about not a negative play on 1st down, but they do that. You put yourself behind the sticks and at a disadvantage.
And Micken was in a groove. Let's see if he can get back to that here.
Micken looks Joyce's way, and he's got it on the out route.
Yeah, he had that outside leverage from the jump. And Dave called it, but you could see it pretty clearly. Micken saw it from the initial read. That corner playing on Joyce's inside shoulder off the ball, so he had that leverage, went to the out route, and got some yardage back here. 3rd and 6 from the 35. Approaching 4-down territory at this point.
For sure. Owen Caldwell, the back in the game for receivers. A couple of one-on-one matchups. And the safety shades to the strong side. Micken looks Sims' way. Sims has it. And it's going to be close. We'll see where they mark him, but I think he got the 1st down. And
looks like it's going to be right at the 29, which is the 1st down marker.
we'll see where the spot is. And
they're going to move the chains,
Yep. So Sims a nice clutch catch there, and Sims has really morphed into this primary receiver for the Cats.
Yeah, it seems like whenever Micken needs a throw, Sims is right there with or for him, just open however you want to put it. Nice game route running for Sims. He's just getting open very much.
Now Micken looking, Micken throwing Sims' way, and that one just overthrown.
That ball had some serious zip on it. Micken with a nice looking pass, just overshot Sims on the double move. You know, went to that outside route again, then broke upfield. It's a nice looking route.
And Micken just kind of looked Sims' way all the way, and in the triple coverage, and that left a couple of receivers open on that far side of the field.
Yeah, it had to be thrown with a lot of zip because it was a very tight window.
Micken's going to throw again. Micken looks, he's got Haddad, and that one's overthrown out of the hands. And that's what you want back. Haddad had a lot of space, and he was near the sticks. Now it's 3rd and 10.
Yeah, just running a deep over, it looked like right there. Micken rolled out, threw it that way, found the soft spot in that zone in the middle of the field, but just overshot him a little bit. Not the best ball, but was on Haddad's fingertips as well. But a play they're going to want back, obviously.
A couple plays this drive they're going to want back. That one might sting the most, but now it's 3rd and 10 on the edge of field goal range. Micken drops. Micken rolls right. Micken evades pressure, throws, Haddad's way, incomplete.
And he might have had some space there if he wanted to take off and make this a 4th and more manageable.
So now Griffin Roberts on to attempt the field goal, and we'll see officially, it's going to be a 41-yarder.
Yeah, Spikes was in pursuit from the second level. Tyrell O'Neal was also bearing down on him. This is going to be a tough kick right here, though.
46 yards.
Oh, yeah, pardon me, 46, yeah.
Oof. Roberts does have the leg.
Huge field goal. And they're going to ice him.
Good thing they did.
I heard a whistle. Someone called a timeout. I heard a whistle before the snap.
Oh, apparently not.
Whoa. Well, the field goal was no good right away. Hold was not great. Roberts just couldn't get it away, and could have sworn I heard a whistle.
Yeah, I thought you might have heard one too. There's definitely some, maybe I'm just hearing things at this point, but it felt like there was something right there, but that kick just didn't have the leg.
Could have been artificial crowd noise.
Potentially. I know last week.
I know, I heard something.
I know last week against Riverside, they played like a really loud blaring horn every time we kicked, from what I recall.
Well, nevertheless, it's 1st and 10, Benedictine. Tight end will motion, Iacampo. Hand, Forte to the outside, breaks a tackle, breaks another, and then Jayshon Thomas able to wrestle him out, and a nice tackle there. Michael Packard finished it off.
Yeah, and the thing about Forte, and you've noticed it as this game has gone on, is he's very good at getting yards after contact, as we've seen on multiple plays, and you see it right there. That play very well could have been a tackle for loss and probably would have been for a decent amount of backs, but right there he's able to shake out of a tackler and get a pair of yards.
So it's 2nd and 8. After the Forte run didn't go for much. This time, Iacampo in the gun. Will motion Pat Shea across the scrimmage. Hand to Forte, and that one's stuffed. What a tackle. Rivera throws him down. Kennedy there to help out.
And like we've said all year, this Wildcat run defense, just phenomenal sometimes. And Benedictine's offensive line definitely looking tired because the Wildcats are all over these runs. 3rd and about 9 here. You want to get your offense back on the field.
Yeah, the defense has really bared down here in the second half overall. Now, hopefully we don't jinx it here on this third down play, but they've been sound against the run overall. And they've tightened up against the pass. Some early plays that had success, but they've tightened the screws there. Looks like you might have press man on the outside here with Smith and McLean, although Packer might be safety help over the top. We'll see.
And now we'll get a flag. And it's going to be a delay a game or a false start. I think they got him for a false start. And they did. So that'll back Benedictine up.
And that kind of changes what you do potentially, because 3rd and 8 is certainly tough but doable, but 3rd and 13, that makes things even tougher on your offense, especially backed up. Maybe just trying to get out of your own end zone a little bit. We'll see what they draw up here and how aggressive they decide to be from their own 16 on 3rd and long.
So now 3rd and 13. Another big third down. There's been a lot of them tonight. This one the most recent. Spikes the tight end. And a pre-snap whistle. And we'll see. Another penalty on Benedictine. Back them up more.
And they've really, you go at it.
Yeah, it's just best case scenario for the Wildcats right here to get about 10 free yards off of Benedictine miscues. And if you can stop them from about right here, they'll be punting out of their own end zone. And again, the Wildcats will have good field position. And I'm just talking in the future. You've got to hunker down right here and stop this play.
Yeah, really both teams have just committed way too many penalties tonight, and it's cost them.
So it'll just be a hand. This one is Earl Jackson to the outside, and he gets blown up. Jay-Sean Thomas. And the punt team on for the Bengals. And again, they're going to be punting from deep in their territory.
Yeah, that looked dangerous for a second. He got into the second level, but Jay-Sean Thomas delivering the big hit, and he's really just a well-rounded safety overall. Good tackle in open field, big hit, and doing a great job running across the field in the run game.
And you'd like to see the Wildcats get some pressure here on the punt, but I think they've been kind of shying away from that due to the roughing the kicker penalty earlier in the game. They got some serious pressure on that kick, but then obviously the penalty.
So they'll back off Majors. Cole going to have a chance. They thought about flipping it to Haddad, and now Cole has blockers. Cole inside the 30. Cuts back, still on his feet. And Cole is brought down inside the 10. What a return from Billy Cole.
And the biggest thing, no penalties on that return. Fantastic block by Jay-Sean Thomas there along the sideline. Billy Cole, look at this fake lateral. Totally caught the Bengals off guard. And Billy Cole with tons of room, so dynamic of a runner. And the Wildcats have a prime opportunity.
And that's the advantage of having two guys back deep who are both dangerous, is you can pull stuff like that, like they did right there. And you take a look at it, just kind of the fake deked a lot of the Benedictine defenders out. Cole finding a way to stay on his feet and get inside the 5, or not the 5, inside the 10 at the 7, close to the 5, and you've got a prime opportunity right here. You can't squander it.
Haddad checks back out. They throw Haddad's way, and Micken missed the throw again.
He's just been leading his receivers by a little bit too much all night, and right there, no exception. When they checked him into motion, I had a feeling when he went back that way that they were going to go out to him right there.
And if he just would have lofted it, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he gets into the end zone right there. And the defender was bearing down on him, but if he squeezes that football, gets you inside the 5, we'll see here. Blasco on that strong side of the line might go a run that way.
A hand. Caldwell up the middle. Caldwell gets himself down to the 2. It's going to be a big third down.
And you've got 2 plays to get 2 yards right here. So if you just want to go ahead and do something, just run the football up the middle, maybe sneak with Micken's length.
Let's see what they go to
get
Micken
close.
We'll go with the sneak. He didn't get it. He got chopped down right away. Now a big 4th down. We'll see what the Cats do.
And I think in this situation, you might be forced to throw the football a little bit. Certainly not forced, but that might be your best bet. Although
Wildcats take a timeout
yeah.
to talk this
Yeah,
over.
they're gonna
And
talk this over.
I mean, this is a situation maybe, Ritt, you could put him out there. It's around extra point range if you're going to kick it. If you're going to go for it, you got a big play call up coming, and you just bite your tongue at that first play that went for nothing.
But I think you also look at it as, obviously you don't want to squander this chance, but if you don't get it, then they take over at the 2-yard line, and your defense has been great all night. So even worst case scenario, you don't get it. Like I said, Benedictine still got their backs against the wall, and this time really backed up, and they haven't really found their footing in the run game. So your defense is going to be able to pin their ears back, or you just put it in the end zone. So I think right here you got to come out and go for this on 4th and 2. I think just the percentages of getting it and the advantages of, even if you don't get it, obviously you don't put points on the board, and a field goal would tie it, but you back them up a lot.
Right.
Give your defense an opportunity.
And just before this play, Hoban beat Walsh Jesuit in that rivalry matchup this week. But back to this game. Big 4th down Wildcat offense is going to roll the dice here. 4th and 2 in the shotgun. Micken. He's going to throw across the middle to his tight end, and it's incomplete, but there's a penalty marker on the play.
I think they're going to get him for pass interference here in the end zone.
They will. So the Wildcats have new life. Wow.
Was draped over Blasco a little bit right there. Not a bad throw by Micken, but a little bit too hot for that red zone situation.
See if we get a replay here. We will. Take a look at the pass interference. Super slow motion here across the middle. And Blasco is wrapped up from the get-go. But now it's going to be 1st and goal from the look at the 1-yard line. This is where you just run the ball.
Yeah, just sneak it in. You got 4 chances to get 1 yard. Well, the Cats are contending something. I'm not sure what it is.
Why is Griffin Roberts? Are they saying it's a repeat of 4th down?
That would make no sense. I beg your pardon, but I missed what they actually called on the field.
I don't think it was a pass interference.
I don't think, yeah, I was going to say, I don't think so either. I don't think they called. Looks like he's signaling face mask a lot, but that one, I don't know.
I'm slightly confused here, but it is still 4th down.
Now Benedictine coaches are complaining on the field.
I think you still got to go for it here.
I don't see how it's 4th down. Because
Well, there's no line to game. It was already,
Yeah, but any penalty, no matter what the penalty was in that situation, from that down to distance, it'd be an automatic 1st down. Would it not?
I don't think so.
Well,
regardless,
regardless, 4th down,
know.
huge play, and Micken is not under center.
I think you just give it to Colwell.
2 tight ends in the game.
Yeah,
they
they're going to run
the
it
right
to
side.
the far side behind the tight ends.
Colwell gets the hand. Colwell into the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats, and they have a lead.
As soon as you saw those tight ends shift across the formation, you knew that's where that football's going to go, behind that strong side of the offensive line. Good blocking up front, not far to gain.
And a great block by Haladakis. Pancaked his guy in O'Neal, and the Cats get a huge touchdown. Excuse me, it was O'Connell that Haladakis blocked. Nevertheless, Cats have a lead with 4:40 left to go.
Knock in this PAT.
Ritt puts it through, and there's a penalty. And we'll see, but the field goal was good. There was a Wildcat lineman on the ground after the play. We'll see if that has anything to do with it. You're going to look at Owen Colwell, and what a touchdown from him. And for Colwell, who had a big touchdown last week late in the game to ice it. So we'll get a replay, see if we can find out what the penalty was.
They waved it off.
Okay. So no penalty on the play, but Micken in.
I think a guy jumped over the line, which is not allowed, so. Whatever the call was, it's a moot point.
The Wildcats have a 4-point lead. 4:40 left to go. And the offense finally got it going in the second half. Again, not a strong showing from them in the first, but at the end of the day, there's 4 minutes and 40 seconds standing between you in a second consecutive victory. And that would do big measures for the playoff race, especially when you look at Football North and how strong their team really could be.
But I think we predicted probably coming into this game that it would be sort of a defensive slugfest. We saw Benedictine 6-3 last week. We know they have a good defense stopping this Wildcat offense, and the Wildcat defense back to their old ways. I mean, really only the one big play at the start of the game, but they've settled in pretty nicely and just stopped this Benedictine offense from doing much in scoring more points. They've only scored that one field goal in the first half. They've been held scoreless in the second half.
Roberts, kick is away, but returnable. Reese gonna have a shot, fields it at the 5. Reese up the middle, Reese in space! Reese is gonna go all the way to the house, and how quickly a game can change. Benedictine strikes right back.
I mean, there's really not much to say. You finally take the lead, and your coverage breaks down right there and kick off. And it's been good all year, but just a sliver of daylight, good vision there, solid blocking by Tremel Reese. And he ran back a kickoff before, so he's certainly dangerous. Ran one back 91 yards, does it again right there. And man, is that a huge momentum swing for Benedictine. All that hard work your offense just put in to finally take the lead, they got to go right back out there and do it again.
That's just devastating for the Wildcats. All that positive momentum completely gone.
Major's kick is blocked. So Thomas got around the edge, stays a 2-point game. But now the offense needs some points.
And that makes it a 2-point game. So if you're able to go downfield, great job by Jay-Sean, just getting a good jump on that ball and coming around the edge and blocked it. He's been close on a few this year, but I mean, right here you got 4 minutes. Benedictine's only got 1 timeout. Just run your offense as normal, and in an ideal scenario, you're kicking a chip shot field goal to end the game and win.
I don't think there's any chance they kick this to Billy Cole after what he did to them on the punt return. I think
try to kick it to one of the up men, but
yeah,
even if you do that, you're still setting them up at like the 30, 35-yard line, which maybe is a risk you try to take.
There's no really good way to kick this off unless it's just hit it out the back of the end zone, but I don't believe Majors has the leg for that.
Yeah, and I think the thing is you still got Sims and Colwell at the 20-yard line here on this one, so if you kick it to, say, Quinn Kennedy there in the middle at the 35, he's going to get enough yardage there to put him at about the 40, 45, so either way, I think your best bet might just try to be to kick it back to Cole and hope your return unit covers well enough. We'll see what they do here.
You saw what just happened with Reese. Kickoff returns can happen in an instant.
So they'll kick it short. And that one fielded by Cole. He botched it, picks it up, and he goes out of bounds behind the 15.
Absolute best case scenario there for Majors. Kick it to the side. It doesn't trickle out of bounds. Cole tried to play it on a bounce, but he couldn't come up with it. And he might have been able to do something, but when you kick it to that side of the field, it takes away the other half of the field, and all of your defenders on special teams can go to that one area where Cole is and limit that gain. And now the Wildcats are really backed up, and that's a great special teams play there by Benedictine, playing with a lead.
Yeah, good placement on that kick as well, so that Cole had to field it on a bounce and allow those special teamers to get downfield quicker. And then obviously he muffed it, which he's done a few times this year.
So it'll be a pass. They go to Sims, and he got it this time. Sims across the 50 to the 45.
Just running a post deep over the middle. No safety help over the top right there. And oh man, we've got an ineligible man downfield.
Gosh, you've got to be kidding. Tremel Reese down around the 50-yard line. Seems to be hurt, but gosh, the one time you get it to go, you get a penalty like that.
An ineligible man downfield with, it was a standard pass. It wasn't really an RPO or anything. It was a standard play action pass. Offensive line should have been in pass pro. Just that one's going to come back to bite them.
Does, however, you have time. Time is not an issue for the Cats, but if you want to run the offense as you would, if you need to run the ball,
Yeah,
but I guess now you're behind the sticks.
You're pinned back, you're behind the sticks. I mean, the penalties were rough last week, but they were able to overcome them. But this week, they've just, they've made too many mistakes, and it's hurt them in their offense.
So Reese walking off a little bit of a limp, but to the sideline under his own power.
And here on 2nd and 15 at the 9, you just got to get something to get some yardage back. Make it a 3rd and 7 or 8. That's obviously ideal scenario is you pick up a first down or even more, but a solid play would be making this a 3rd and 7 or 8, like I said, and giving yourself some breathing room a little bit, because worst case scenario as well as the punt pins your defense back, although at that point the clock will run enough to where Benedictine will either get a first down or 2 and end the game, or you'll get the football back. So field position battle here late in this one.
This drive's going to show you what you're made of offensively. Kind of a season-defining drive right here for the Wildcats.
Micken to throw again to Takancic. Takancic makes a man miss, spins out of a tackle, and then finally brought down. But back to normal down and distance, 2nd and 8.
Just picking up some yards, some breathing room, kind of out from inside your own 10. But now, again, you're probably going to have to pass the ball a lot, which it's been up and down tonight. You had the long pass to Haddad for that big touchdown, but Micken has been just a touch off on a lot of his passes today.
Yeah, I said 3rd and 7 and 8, but it's actually 2nd down. I stand corrected.
Here's a strike to Haddad, and they said he was down. Haddad disagrees, but it is a first down. Clock will stop momentarily. 3:18 left to go.
Yeah, time isn't too much of a factor yet. They've been throwing the ball a lot anyway, and we'll see if he's down.
Yeah. Close.
It's tough.
Tough from that angle.
Nevertheless, still really good body control there by Haddad.
You got the first down, so the clock stopped momentarily.
Micken to throw again. Looks Haddad's way again. That one nearly intercepted. And it was just the first read all the way through.
Yeah, Micken really likes those out routes, and it's where he throws some of his best balls is to that outside hash. We've seen it more to the near side here from our perspective, but right there going for Haddad, but really tight coverage there and a good play on the football. And again, give Benedictine credit. Their secondary has kind of been torn apart a little bit by guys via injury, but they've had guys step up and make big plays.
Micken, pocket collapsing, rolls. He's going to take a deep shot to Haddad, and Haddad has it. He's wrestled out of bounds inside the 25, and I don't think there's any penalties, but the sticks aren't moving. There must be.
Well,
might have been a sideline warning on Benedictine. I saw that after the fact.
Well,
or Haddad might have stepped out of bounds.
I was going to say he might have stepped out of bounds. That's what the hat throw would be.
Could have been.
Yeah, he stepped out of bounds.
Illegal touching.
Yeah, I was as soon as he threw that hat there, at about the 30 or so, at the 29, still there. But I thought, like, maybe because that's usually what that signifies is he stepped out of bounds. So he obviously can't be the first one to touch the football. Beyond that, Coach Franzinger looking for an explanation on that. And that's just another big play that is taken away. I was about to say Mickett's first read wasn't open in Sims, but he extended the play. And they just lost Haddad downfield, but his foot was out of bounds. And again, unfortunate there.
With you on the SIBN, apologies. No action missed. 3rd and 20 for the Wildcats. And broadcast did go down, got it back up as soon as we could.
Yeah, overall, really not sure exactly where we lost you, but the illegal touching by Haddad on that deep play downfield, and then after that, they tried to throw it on a drag over the middle to Haddad, and it was just out of his reach.
Now 3rd down and 20 for Benedictine, or excuse me, for Ignatius. With 2:43 left to go. It's a big play. Micken drops. Micken escaping pressure. Micken dumps off to Haddad. Haddad makes a move, and he's wrestled down, and it's going to be short of the 1st down.
Yeah, but it makes it a 4th and manageable here if you're the Cats, but a call you got to really think about right here. Only 2 timeouts left, so if you give Benedictine the football back, only going to be able to talk about it, or take a timeout twice to stop them. Not sure if you take a timeout here to talk about it. They used one already to do so. Approaching 2 minutes. I mean, it's do or die here.
Micken looks Sims' way at the sticks, and Sims got the 1st down and got out of bounds inside of 2 minutes.
He was looking that way all the way. Micken sees his first read pre-snap and dials in on it. And then if it's not there, he shifts off of it. Sometimes he could get a little bit too attached to that first read instead of letting his eyes kind of hover over the field. But good ball right there, good catch. And he's able to get the 1st down. Cats still have life.
Micken to throw again. Looks Marcus Takancic's way. And Takancic goes out of bounds, but picks up 5.
And I think, still looking back on it, they were really backed up on 3rd down, but they found a way to convert there. And for Benedictine, that's a situation where a huge missed opportunity late in this game because, again, the penalties, self-inflicted wounds by the Cats backed them up, but Benedictine couldn't bury them. And now you have new life here a little bit at the 45, 2nd and 5, 1:52 left. And 2 timeouts, so still some time, certainly.
Micken drops. Micken evades pressure, spins out, and then he goes down. That's not what you wanted if you're the Cats. Clock's going to continue to run, and it's 3rd down and 15.
Tyrell O'Neal coming through at the biggest spot in the game, and the Cats are going to catch a break as a Bengal is down once again. But Tyrell O'Neal, I talked about his versatility at the top of the broadcast, but rushing inside there, working on the guard there on the left side, and he was just able to get enough penetration and get through for the sack.
Now it's a big 3rd and 14.
Yeah, was working on Whiteside, the sophomore, it appeared. And again, he mainly uses his power to get to the quarterback at 6'4", 295, but is certainly shifty for his size. And with that 3-3 stack, they force him to rush interior a lot, and he got the job done right there. So once again, you're behind the sticks.
And the thing is for the Wildcats, if they can manage to convert on these next 2 downs, they need a field goal, and they can win this game. And obviously you would love to get in the end zone because that's the safer option. A lot of things have to go right with kicking the field goal, but they'll at least have an option if they can manage to get it down into at least some sort of Griffin Roberts range.
Yeah, just got to focus on this series right here. First thing you got to do as you continue to back yourself up behind the sticks is you just got to pick up the first down. And you were at 2nd and 5, but that sack really hurts you. But an injury did not make you waste a timeout, although the clock is going to run now after everyone's set.
Micken throws. He's got Haddad, and it's out of the reach. And now it's 4th and 15.
And this is game right here.
I don't love,
pretty much.
Yeah, I don't love going deep there. I would have tried to get 7 or so back.
I mean, he had it open a little bit, but again, these are tough throws, but they're just a little bit out of the reach of his receiver.
Seems like that's happened with Haddad a lot this game.
It's happened with Sims too. We saw the deep ball to Joyce, and these are good throws, but just a little bit over.
Now this is the game. Micken rolling. Micken flushed. Micken goes down. Benedictine can run this one out.
There was just nothing open downfield, at least nothing that Mickey could see. He tried to extend it as long as possible. There was a flag. I think it's going to be on Benedictine for something after the play. Their sideline was very animated after that one.
Oh, their coach seems really upset.
We'll see if this backs him up at all, because if it does, then for all intents and purposes, the Cats still have a chance, but you got to force some 3 and out right here.
And you only got 1:17 left, not a lot of time.
And take the ball down to about 30 seconds or so.
It's not technically over, but
feels pretty close, especially that they have the ball at the 25. That's a killer. If they lose this one, that's a really rough one.
The kick return touchdown from Reese. Put the Bengals on top after the Cats answered back. Here's a hand Forte. He's stopped. Now the Cats are going to take that timeout.
So let's see. You get another run, maybe take off 3 or 4 seconds if you're able to stuff it. Take that final timeout. They run it again, so you're going to have like 20 seconds with no timeouts here. And again, it's just been the self-inflicted wounds, the penalties, backing themselves up behind the sticks. You got to give credit to Benedictine as well, but man, they just a lot of missed opportunities tonight, and certainly not their best game of football.
Somber as well. Senior night for a ton of these Wildcats, and they couldn't. Well, unless anything magical happens, they couldn't get the job done against a team that they look at on the schedule and they think that they should beat them.
Yeah, you looked at Riverside and Benedictine, and you can't overlook any opponent. And I don't think they were, but these are games you look at and you're like, okay, these are winnable games that you really want to have when you look at their schedule.
Another hand Forte slips off, and then pile keeps moving, still moving, and now the whistle. Cats take that final timeout, but
that burned a lot of clock.
Yeah, and also that's where Forte's ability to stay on his feet and break off tacklers comes to his advantage. And obviously Ignatius taking that final timeout, but this play right here, you're going to take it down to. Ignatius might only have one play, if that.
And if
hoping for a miracle.
Yeah, and if Benny gets the first down here, that'll put it out of reach. Wildcats can't stop the clock again. Then you can just take knees. Not a lot of words. Cats struck back with an Owen Caldwell touchdown, and then
yeah, it felt like they finally had the momentum swing in their direction. And then again, the kick return touchdown just made it all go back the other way. And a great response by Benedictine. And you don't want to take away from what they did tonight because they played a great game.
For sure.
They had a lot of penalties, and their offense wasn't great, but they did what they needed to do. Their defense continues to be stellar.
Now the clock will run. It's 4th down with 53 seconds.
And, I mean, yeah, you could look at the schedule all you want and say they haven't played the best teams, but the bottom line is they came on the road today, and their offense wasn't great, but they did enough, and their defense continues to limit teams and give their offense and give their team a chance in every game. And they did so tonight, as they're going to let this one run all the way down. Maybe they take it, delay a game or something like that.
And you kind of just look at this game and the one touchdown, first play of the game, and then the kickoff touchdown. As they'll take the delay of game penalty. You can see the body language for the Wildcats, and it's just not good.
Yeah.
So one play for Benedictine here. I think maybe they just run backwards, honestly, and try to just drain this clock all the way down.
Yeah, that's definitely a viable option. It's tough, man. It's tough to say things have reached rock bottom, but it feels close to it. Just a frustrating loss.
Frustrating
tonight.
loss for sure. 4th down and 9. Now Benedictine, depending on how they play this, you might see Giovanni Iacampo just run straight backwards and waste time if they don't run it right up the middle. But
yeah,
even then,
you got to waste 13 seconds though, because if you run straight back and they tackle you before that, then there's some risk there. Excuse me.
And they're gonna throw. Iacampo's gonna roll. Iacampo chucks it deep.
Yeah, just throw it out of the end zone, not take any risk.
And that one was picked off by Jay-Sean Thomas, and now it's a touchback.
We just lost field position though because of that.
So it's gonna be from the 20, and Cats got one play.
Hey, they won the turnover battle.
There you go, Adam. But he would have been at about the 35 or so. At least give yourself, and Micken probably doesn't have that arm, but gives you a better chance to make something happen. But now you just lose yardage. Maybe they're discussing whether he caught this or not. No, they're actually going to throw a flag. Looked like it was directed at Benedictine, so let's see what it is.
Intentional grounding.
They're just going to call an intentional grounding, yeah.
Well, that gives the Cats a little bit better field position. And it'll probably nullify the pick. So the Cats will be setting up around the 40.
Yeah, I would assume so.
And there's 5.9 seconds, so more towards 6. But again, you got one play, and that's it.
You got one play, yeah.
Let's see where they spot this ball.
Still confused about the spot.
Haven't marked it down yet.
I feel like if they call the grounding, then that's a loss of down
I feel like the
and
Wildcat.
the 10 yards.
Right,
They'll have it at the 30.
70 yards. The Cats need to go.
Hoping for a miracle here. They're playing very soft, obviously, prevent defense.
Maybe a little lateral
I was
play.
going to say hook and lateral, something like that.
And, of course, couldn't get the snap right away. And we'll get a whistle. So the officials will talk it over the topic of discussion, unsure. But it's just been a weird game tonight to describe it.
Yeah, just overall not pretty for both teams. A lot of things to clean up for Benedictine, but looking at their schedule, one of the harder games certainly.
As Micken's just going to chuck this one towards Luke Sims, and now there's going to be one more play. I don't get the play call there. Sims never looked back. Now one last play.
I think they were trying to get some yardage or do a hook and ladder, but Sims thought
he kind of let that one go a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't. He could have probably caught it, but the game would have been over. And now you have at least one more play.
Yeah, see if they try something different here. It seems like there's confusion as to what we are running.
Wildcats receivers do get set now. Empty back. Micken drops. Micken pressure coming. Micken goes down, and that's the ball game. The Benedictine Bengals pull off the upset, and they defeat the St. Ignatius Wildcats by a score of 16-14. And you look at that Reese touchdown return on the kickoff, and that's your ball game, folks.
Yeah, just not the prettiest game for the Cats, and that's the result.
So Benedictine wins by 2 tonight. Post-game show wrap-up. We'll step aside. And back tonight here from Don Shula Stadium. The Benedictine Bengals victorious by 2 points over the St. Ignatius Wildcats. In a game the Cats thought they had with around 4 minutes left, and then the kickoff return. That went for a touchdown.
The Wildcats on the offensive side of the ball in the first half, 0 points. That proved to be the difference. They scored 14 in the second half, trying to come back. And the defense played very well all night. Just that one big play was the only touchdown that the defense gave up. But that big kick return by Reese proved to be the difference for Benedictine.
It seemed like in the second half when Ignatius finally delivered a big punch, Benedictine punched right back with that big kickoff return, as you said, Adam. And for the Cats, they just did not play their best football tonight by any stretch. Benedictine didn't either with all their penalties and self-inflicted wounds, but the Cats, a lot of things they need to clean up. Tough game next week, and give credit to Benedictine. They go on the road and pick up a huge win.
So Benedictine victorious 16-14. This has been the Rock Entertainment Sports Network, produced by NEO Productions and presented also by the St. Ignatius Broadcast Network. From everyone here, Dave Takis, Adam Noga, Alex Carl, Henry Cober, everyone behind the scenes, Benedictine wins one tonight.